What are we calling the show this year?
This is the Patriots Pregame Show, presented by Dunkin.
Patriots Chinwag, Patriots Before the Game Show.
Jones, he's throwing it toward Thornton, left corner of the end zone, caught, touchdown New England.
Hey, it's the Patriots.
The Patriots Pregame Show is your source for all the latest news and information before every game.
He tucked into the house again.
Here we
the
go.
Patriots take the lead.
With Hardy,
Clean slate, new season, new year. Everything's coming up Hardy, I can tell.
Mike Dussault,
Banta. Bunt cake.
Banta.
Paul Perillo,
Did you not hear the amount of enthusiasm I brought to the table?
Paul's bringing it, Spee. I mean, we're all just trying to catch
You
up.
guys are all poo-poo and everything.
and Tamara Brown.
Wait, your name was really spelled wrong?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Would you be outraged?
Could you spell Perillo right now for us?
No.
Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots Pregame Show, presented by Dunkin.
I can't wait. My pen. Have you seen my pen? It was in my pocket before.
I have no idea. I can't wait. For what?
$1,000 if anyone gets that reference. I
Bob
thought
Dole,
you would
anything?
get that. I thought you would get that one, Dussault.
No.
That is old school Kids in the Hall right there.
Oh, I know some of those, but not all of them.
Wow, welcome into the Patriots pregame show, fueled by Dunkin. Now, a little echoey in here.
Are we
Matt.
all right?
Yeah, we're a little echoey in
You
here.
sound, you sound wonderful.
Is there an extra mic on maybe or something?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Sounds good here.
All right, never mind. Moving on. Patriots Dolphins tonight. They kick off just after 11:30 Eastern time. So the pregame will begin about 3 a.m. and we'll take you right on through to morning drive on the postgame show.
It is tough with
postgame episode.
Yeah, it's tough. The night games coming right off the preseason when you had all the night games, you just right back into it. But we're gonna battle through, Mike. We're gonna do our best.
It's a big game. It's a national game. I think that's enough to get
It's
me
definitely a big
through it.
game.
And we don't have another one until December, so we'll suck it up.
We
for
don't
the
have
next
another
25.
night game until December. Is that
I
accurate?
don't think so.
And then we have like
Okay.
4 in a row.
Yeah, there's 3 in a row. I think it's like a Thursday night, a Sunday night, and a Monday night.
Yeah, I
something
don't
like
mind
that.
the Thursday. The Sunday, Mondays, those are tough. Thursday, you just get up. Friday, you got a nice weekend
Thursday,
to
Monday,
look
Sunday.
forward to. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
this is Paul. I mean, we will have the early morning.
Gosh, you're an upbeat fella.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll have the early
Said
morning.
no one anywhere ever.
The Germany game though, that will be here at like 7:30 a.m.
Right,
Like
which
7:15 actually.
Mike and I will be in a great mood for as we get
My
off a plane on Saturday. My pants.
What are you guys getting off a plane for?
Because we're gonna go to Germany for a little bit.
And come home before the game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't leave you by yourself.
Well, they want us to glad hand. We got to kiss some babies over there.
Classic.
It wouldn't be a Patriots game.
Your
that might be.
sister's birthday. We all missed it. Classic.
Classic.
I don't really want to touch. I don't want to touch that.
Careful, Hardy.
Yeah, we're not going there. I do.
Did you miss her birthday?
I did.
Who?
Never mind.
It wasn't
Oh,
his.
no.
It wasn't his teen daughter. Don't
Yes, yes, you are right. Oh no, yes, your instincts are correct. Wait, I don't want to talk about
I won't
it.
mention it. I
don't
won't
wanna
mention
talk
but
about it.
Man, oh man.
It was bad. It was bad. Anyway, the Dolphins. I think Mike is exactly right. I think this is an enormous game for the Patriots early in the season.
Yep.
I don't want to call it, a true must-win, but I think for an early season game, for a September game, this is about as close as you can get. I think they really need to take care of business at home tonight.
I totally agree, Paul. I mean, it's in the past you'd say, oh well, September there's a little bit of a curve. We're going to get warmed up,
Yeah.
and maybe we don't have our best football. But when you're like a 500 team, and every win when you get down to the end of the season is critical, and you look back on those games of like, man, if we could have just gotten that one in September, how did we lose to the Bears who didn't win another game the rest of the season? So it's and again, these are things I hit all off season with. This is a divisional rival. This is a team that has had a winning record against you in recent history. You did pull off the win last year against Skylar Thompson and Teddy Bridgewater, but this is what the season's all about right now. And I don't want to say it's a crossroads and it's week 2, and yes, of course they could overcome it, but I just think this sets up what way is the season going to go. Is this going to be a season of constantly trying to get wins and scrap and get back into the picture, or can we get a little bit of a good start this year and really start to build some positive momentum here?
Yeah, and the positive momentum will come from a win.
Yep.
that is the only way. I thought
Yep.
Zoe made a really good point. I heard it again
Really?
on the way in. I know. Shockingly, at the end of the Eagles game, he said, you add your chances, and he said, these are the games you don't want to be in week 15, 16, looking back and saying, we had a decent season. We showed some fight and got some wins, but if it weren't for blowing opportunities in this game, and this, he goes, and that's a game. And if you hang with the Dolphins tonight and you come up a little bit short, that's it. You lost again. You're 0-2 to start the season, and I know you got the Jets next week, but you've got some real games coming up on the schedule, and the Jets might be a real game. We don't know. I'm not.
The Jets will be a real game.
I'm not disrespecting anybody at this point. We don't have that luxury, but the win tonight is so important. So we're not calling it must win.
Right. Even for that game next week against the Jets, I think mentally it's huge. It's huge.
Hi,
The
Tamara.
party can start because I've walked in.
Okay, well, Tamara's here, and you're only 6 minutes late. All right, we haven't even done the keys to the game yet, so you're just in time, Mr. Morrell.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now, just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined and doomed to fail.
Here are Hardy, Paul, Mike, and Tamara's keys to the game.
Why did I steal your key to the game also? Keys to the game without these keys, followed to a T. The Patriots are destined to lose. That's why they're listening in the locker room right now. We're going to start with Mike Dussault's key to the game, which is get dirty and take off your shirty. What is it?
No, but it is a little Hardy. Like, get flirty with 30. I thought it was, I thought of it, and I'm like, that's kind of Hardy's. I didn't want to play on your side of the field, but I just figured I'd go for it. And I thought you'd give me your blessing with something a little rhymey.
The blessing.
So yeah, I think they gotta just get around 30 points. I mean, I don't want to oversimplify it, but I just think
they're talking about number 30.
Oh no,
like, who's 30 on the Dolphins?
It used to be Mac Wilson, Marty Mapu for the Patriots. But anyway, I think this is a night you gotta start to click and put some points on the board. Explosive offense. I think they'll be around the 30s if your defense plays up to task tonight. Hold them in the mid-20s. I think that'd be a good job by the Patriots defense, but I think their offense has got to put some points on the board. Get flirty with 30.
Let me give big props to Mike Dussault right at the start of the Patriots pregame show for not getting too in the weeds with his key. I think it's, we overlook some of the simple things sometimes. Tamara, the notion of needing to outscore your opponents in order to win a football game.
Sometimes simplicity is the key.
Right.
30 points. 30 points.
It.
You score 30 points tonight, I think you win.
Chance.
That's it. That's it. Figure out a way to score 30 points tonight.
I
like it. I like it a lot.
My key is the simplest.
Oh, all right. Well,
did you read my key? My key is more simple than Mike's.
Yeah, you just went for alliteration. I didn't think too much of it, but go ahead. You can go next.
The audacity to come at my key.
Well,
tame Tua. It all starts with him. If you can tame him, if you can obviously make him really, really uncomfortable, that's going to be impossible for him to get the ball to his receivers.
Okay, here's why.
It all starts with him. If he can't get the ball to Waddle and Cheetah, then obviously the Patriots can contain them, keep them from scoring 40 points and blowing out the Patriots and being explosive. So slow down Tua, tame Tua, and everything else is handled.
Okay, so you and I have similar keys.
Mine just sounds better. It's simple.
Well, it's alliterative. It'd be great on News 10. They would love it. They would love it on some local news station where they just, fawn all over themselves with their alliterative graphics in the background.
I think you're just being a hater.
Don't hate the player.
I should have came in here today like Deion Sanders with some sunglasses on and just blocked out the noise.
Talk about haters. Yeah. Well, we should talk about that game later.
We should actually recognize that what an unbelievable accomplishment beating a team that you were favored by 24 in double overtime. I mean, after all, I don't know who saw that one coming. Hats off.
So
Coach Prime.
I liked Colorado State with the points and on the money line. I went to bed at midnight. Do you know what
Grandpa.
where the game was at midnight? Halftime.
Yeah.
Because they started at 10 o'clock.
Plus they started at 10:20 actually because Tennessee was deciding to fight and be WWE and not in the game.
That game must have not gotten over until like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah, 2:20.
Did anybody stay up and watch
Nope.
it? No. Okay. All right, Grandma. You and I have
I'll be honest, if I thought Colorado State had a chance, I would have stayed up, but that's a terrible team.
Yeah.
So I just figured they would get killed.
So, Tamara, my key is similar. I just want him to blitz early, often, keep blitzing in order to tame Tua.
Tame Tua sounds better than I just want them to blitz.
Okay, but it makes it sound like Tua can kill you on quarterback keeps and by running the ball himself.
No,
And
but you tame him.
Okay, but
you haven't beaten him.
Okay,
you haven't beaten him.
You make him sound like Lamar Jackson when you say tame Tua.
Okay.
And he's not.
Well, Tua's the one getting the ball to Cheetah and Waddle.
What do you think of? And we're going to talk about this more later. But Tua, compared to Mac Jones, are they kind of similar?
I would not say that.
No, you would not.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I would not say that.
What would you say? Tua's better?
I would say Tua's better.
Okay.
But that's just me. Like Mac Jones, he can't make some of those throws that Tua can. Sorry, he can't. Especially not on the move. Absolutely not.
I see a little more athleticism from Tua, but not a ton.
I mean, there's a reason why Tua was playing over Mac Jones when they were both at Alabama.
Tua doesn't scare me. What scares me is if he has receivers that can create separation and get open.
For sure.
And he needs a little bit of time to do that, so you got to take away the time.
For sure.
That's all.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I want him to do. Give him less time to throw. Because you saw Tyreek especially. He had 10 yards of separation last week. All right, if we can really cover him better. All right, so he's got 3 or 4 yards. He's still making those catches. You have to stop the ability to find him in any kind of space. You got to get to Tua early and often and give him no time to throw.
I think the Patriots defense can do that tonight too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's good, I think, because we have 2 defensive ones and 2 offensive ones. I'm with Mike. I think this is on the offense. You have to find a way to score points.
Yep.
And I think you just need to establish some consistency. I thought they did it in spurts last week. Those 2 drives at the end of the first half, the last 2 of the second quarter, things are beauty. And I'm not suggesting that they're going to be able to do that every time they get the ball. I mean, no one does that. But they need to be a little bit more consistent. And you really need to focus, I think, on the fast start that all the players talked about all during the course of the week. So just find a level of offensive consistency, and I think that you'll be able to get, if not to 30, that Mike thinks is the magic number, at least into the mid-20s, and give yourself an opportunity to win, because I don't think Miami will run away in this game. So to me, you have to find a way to support the defense. We're watching the Jets in Dallas right now, and the Jets defense, I think everybody would agree, is terrific, but they look very ordinary today, and I think it's kind of easy to understand why. Like, there's a huge letdown when you go from having all of this confidence that you might finally be able to move the ball and score some points to sort of coming to the reality that we have to win games 13-9 again. And, it's a tough way to play, and Dallas is looking really good offensively today. So don't put all the pressure on the defense to keep you in the game. You need to go out and score.
All right, so those are your keys to the game. We're going to go behind enemy lines here in a few minutes with Travis Wingfield from MiamiDolphins.com. So that'll be happening here shortly. A little later on, we'll get to our over-unders. We have a 3-pack. What comes in a pack of 3? Oh. We've had a Chuckles 5-pack before.
Wine? Does wine come in a pack of 3? Maybe at Costco or BJ's.
What comes out? Oh, tennis ball. The Penn tennis ball 3-pack.
There you go.
That doesn't sound as good.
Sleeve of golf balls, the Titleist 3-pack. The Callaway Chrome Soft, the Callaway Super Soft 3-pack. There we go. And shout out to Matt LePan. Thank you. All right. You want to grab a call before Travis, or is he going to be on the line here in a minute? Let's grab a call. We'll just do it.
Let's do it.
Patty in Agawam. What's up, Pat? Thanks for joining us. You're up first.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hardy?
Yeah.
You need to have Fred sign you to a lifetime contract. Because when you said, my pen, the first thing that popped in my head is he quoting Kids in the Hall?
God bless you, Pat. Somebody got it.
And it's my favorite sketch comedy show of all time.
Right on.
So I just have a question. My quick question for tonight is, Jonathan Jones can't go because I know the inactive list hasn't come out yet. How do you see them defending Tyreek? Do you think they'd put Christian on him with help over the top, or do you think,
zone?
God help us, maybe Marcus Jones or Miles Bryant covers him?
I think it'll be Marcus Jones with help over the top. But Mike is right. I think 2/3 of the time it'll be zones.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got, guys.
All right. Thanks, Pat.
I think Gonzalez is a little too long to be as quick twitchy as Tyreek Hill is. So I would go. Not that I think that Marcus Jones can cover him. I don't think he can cover him, but he can run with him. And I think that's a better sort of option than Christian Gonzalez. Listen, Gonzalez is going to have his hands full tonight regardless because Jalen Waddle is he's no big lumbering receiver himself. He's pretty quick, on the other side. So I don't think these two matchups. Now, I would have said the same thing last week with not necessarily Brown, but with Devontae Smith, and I thought in the times that Gonzalez was matched up against Smith, he handled himself well last week. I don't want to say I'm sold after one silly game. That would be dumb, but I just think that his skill set really translates.
Gonzalez?
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, it'd be great to have Jonathan Jones. I mean, I don't think regardless if he plays or not, they're going to play a ton of man, but we've seen it a little bit. Guys come here, Gilmore, getting into zone. Like, kid coming from college, you can say, go man up on that guy. Follow him. You're athletic. It's a little bit simple. I would just hope that Gonzalez is going to have the ability to understand where he is spatially in zone. I think they got to flood the middle of the field. I just don't think you can sit there and watch them catch these crossing routes and pick up a head of steam and turn it upfield. They need to muddy the middle of the field. Maybe use some of their safety, some of their physicality. Guys talking this week a lot about trying to get your hands on him. It's not easy to do, but I don't think that there's really that very often you're going to see them just man up, press man, and it's too hard. They're too fast. You can't chase them across the field. Nobody's that fast. They're going to get a step on just about everybody.
All right, let's go behind enemy lines. Here we go.
You know the view from New England.
We go behind enemy lines.
But what about the view from the other side?
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Oh, yeah?
I was on with you guys in 2018 Thursday Night Football.
Yep.
And I was told I was the favorite guest of the show.
Nope. No.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us.
Joining us now, Travis Wingfield, who had to be a high school lacrosse standout. Star rower, he rowed crew for Washington State University. There's no other background that fits for someone named Travis Wingfield. Hello, Travis.
Is that kind of a River Craycraft crossover there?
I like it.
He and I holding down the Washington State crew team, I suppose. What's up, fellas?
How you doing? On Twitter, at Wingfield NFL, and also MiamiDolphins.com. He's got podcasts going. A lot of stuff, Travis, so we appreciate you taking the time to join us here as we get ready for your Dolphins tonight here at Gillette Stadium. How are you feeling about the game?
Yeah, looking forward to it. And it seems the Dolphins can kind of keep that head of steam rolling offensively that pretty much, put the game away last week despite the defense not really holding up their end of the bargain. So we saw the Dolphins come out of the gates hot a year ago. I think Mike McDaniel's ability to put together a game plan or I guess an offense without having much tape makes it difficult to defend this offense. So trying to see if they can keep that rolling here in week number 2.
Just going to kick things off with Tua, Travis. I mean, what have you seen from him this summer? Did you expect the explosion that you saw in week 1 from him? And just what have you seen with him and McDaniel kind of in year 2 together? How have they kind of tweaked the offense a little bit as they've gotten to know each other a little bit?
You always try to kind of temper what you see in training camp to not extrapolate too much from it. But I thought we saw exactly what you saw in the opening game from Tua in terms of better creativity outside of structure, a little more explosiveness when pressure gets into his face and he has to get off the spot, and then just the added, I guess, clubs to his bag, if you want to use a golf term there, because he was throwing different types of line drive shots, little touch layer throws, taking his vertical shots, hitting Tyreek and Stride a couple times last week. I think they've really kind of taken what they did last year with that bread and butter, and we saw that. I heard you guys talking about it before I came on, those crossing routes over the middle of the field and getting those guys ahead of steam and turning 15-yard plays into 30-yard plays because they run after the catch. I think they've also kind of expanded the offense to go counter what the defense might do to counter that look and throw the short passing game and take the profit underneath and just kind of live to fight another day. So I think you've seen a really nice expansion here of the offense in the second season so far.
Yeah, the golf metaphor tracks too for Travis Wingfield. Yeah, probably a top-ranked junior amateur player.
You state it once, you get it out there for the jury to hear, and then you let it go. Okay?
But
it was a funny joke at the top.
But now I'm out of line. Travis, I apologize. I'm out of line.
So Travis,
I'll take the golf compliments all day long.
Okay, all right, good.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the other side of the ball with Vic Fangio coming in. And I know last week was a little bit of a struggle stopping the run. just how you feel about that side, and I want to also ask you, after you answer that, about Jalen Phillips and his status.
Sure, yeah. I thought they were a little bit shorthanded up front last week, and we kind of saw that play out throughout the course of the preseason because Christian Wilkins and Zach Steeler both played 60, 65 snaps a game, and Raekwon Davis is looking for that breakout season. Didn't happen for him in week number 1, but beyond that, the depth there is a little bit unknown right now. They did pull up Deshaun Hand to the active roster to kind of add some reinforcements inside. And then the off-ball linebacker position, too. I thought they struggled to fit the right gaps and get off blocks in that area, which obviously led to 234 yards on the ground. I am curious to see if the schematics of the plan changed tonight in terms of, inviting the run a little bit last week and protecting up top over Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and the guys the Chargers have in the vertical threat department. And then as far as Jalen Phillips goes, I think he'll probably try to go. I don't have any insight on that, but I imagine he'll try to go. And maybe worst-case scenario, you have Emmanuel Ogbah kind of your base-down looks off the edge, and then Phillips can come into the game and kind of hunt the quarterback on third downs.
Travis Wingfield from MiamiDolphins.com, at Wingfield NFL on Twitter or X. Travis, we talk a lot about Tua around here. Some of the conversation has to do with his health and his continued health, which obviously nobody wants to see a player go down. So is Tua kind of like in tune with that also, with some of his off-season conditioning where he appeared to bulk up a little bit, kind of with that in mind? It's like he needs to protect himself in the pocket, out of the pocket, because he's thinking the way a lot of people think, that he can't afford to get hurt again?
100%. I mean, this team would have gone, I think would have had a better record last year had they not lost their QB1. I think the impact on the offense in terms of production would certainly back that statement. But he, in addition to, getting the added strength and just being a little bit thicker around the waist and, being able to absorb more hits, he really put a lot of emphasis on finding out how to protect himself just in general from absorbing those hits and rolling into the way he falls, opposed to last year when he would go down and kind of snap his head off the back of the turf, and that would lead to the head injuries that he suffered. So it's a very small sample size, but so far in the preseason and then through one regular season game of action, he's done a really good job of, when he takes those hits, he kind of rolls into it and gets himself out of too much danger. And also, there was a play last week where he had some time to potentially survey a downfield throw, but there really wasn't anything there, and so he just grounded the ball at the feet of Alec Ingold. So if you go back and watch the injuries, in addition to how they happened with him hitting the back of the turf or the back of his head, he kind of hunted for bigger plays and held onto the ball a little bit too long. And I think that this off season and into this regular season, he's done a good job of getting rid of the ball and just living to fight another day.
Well, we've been talking about Tua and Waddle and Hill all week here. I want to ask you just kind of the lesser talked about portions of the offense, the offensive line. I know some questions about that coming in the season, and just what are you kind of expecting from the backfield today? I saw Mostert was on the injury report this week.
Yeah, he had a vet day off on Wednesday, so he's going to be good to go for tonight's game. And the running game was efficient in the first half last week before they kind of got away from it because the game script kind of dictated they do that, playing from behind for the majority of the second half. But they were able to hit some explosives off the edge, and it's not necessarily that they get big production in the running game. It's the ability to do it so they can really expand upon that in the passing game, because as you guys know, with that outside zone they like to run from the Shanahan tree, you really have to honor the edges. Otherwise, a guy like Raheem Mostert or even Savon Ahmed or rookie Devon Achane, and they all have speed. If you don't honor it and they can hit the big play off the outside, then all of a sudden, you add that to the passing game, and it's pretty much curtains from there. So for the Dolphins, they want to establish that run for the ability to create that second level creeping up and find the passing lanes in behind them.
Travis, I wanted to ask you a little bit about, we obviously know tons about Waddle and Hill. Is there a guy that has emerged at all that the Patriots would need to be concerned about beyond those two? Because we all know that Belichick loves to sort of make you do it with something in another way than the one that you want to. So who would be the guy that you would think would be the candidate for that for Miami?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the first one you go to is Braxton Berrios. He was really instrumental on some third down conversions last week, kind of what I'm sure you guys got used to seeing him do, and as well as with the New York Jets when he was there. But he was kind of that, the way you're going to defend Tyreek and Waddle is going to create somebody one-on-one opportunities elsewhere. And I like Berrios' ability to win from inside with that shiftiness that he displays. And then also a guy to keep an eye on is Eric Ezukama. He is a second-year receiver out of Texas Tech, was inactive every game last year until the finale and only played like 10 snaps in that game. But he's a guy that has really good run-after-catch ability, and they utilize that by putting him in the backfield from time to time he got a couple of carries last week and runs that fly sweep motion they love to use so often as well. So Ezukama and Braxton Berrios, a couple of guys in specialty roles that can kind of, help pick up the interim while Tyreek and Jalen are doubled up.
All right, Travis, you got a score prediction for tonight?
I don't want to get too ahead of my skis here, but I feel pretty good about this Dolphins' offense ability to score on anybody. And then I think if they can get out in front, they can kind of put their foot on the gas with the pass rush and get after Mac Jones and what might be, a banged-up offensive line. We'll see who's active. So I'm going to say 28-17 Dolphins.
Okay, very good. Travis Wingfield.
The third,
winner of the Spokane Kiwanis Club speech contest.
You know Spokane?
I know a little. Is that where you're from in Washington?
I'm from the Tri-Cities, but that's pretty close.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll talk Spokane another time.
Oh, jeez.
No, we can. I know a few people there. Travis, really good talking.
I apologize, Travis.
I was the best part of his day. Don't ever apologize for me. Travis, thank you for the time. Seriously, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Enjoy the rest of the game.
All right, thanks. There he goes.
Good guy.
How dare you?
How
dare you?
He enters
good sport.
He enters the all-time top 10. That's a good guy right there.
He's a good guy.
Gave us information.
He let Paul bust his balls a little bit.
Accepted a golf compliment.
I don't believe that I was busting anything.
He was courteous and responded to courtesy. He did so well. And then this ham-handed segue. It won't do. All right.
Half the time, I just need a dictionary.
It's
or IMDb.
Silence of the Lambs. Come on, kid. Come on. I'm throwing you softballs.
Come on, guy.
We got fourth quarter of some of these 4 o'clock games here, so things are going to get real hairy with Red Zone Paul. But that's okay. We'll keep the.
I'm really more nervous than anything else.
We'll keep the ship moving here.
Denver's killing me.
And we got a 55-yard field goal attempt for Dallas right now. They're up 21-10 over the Jets, and Paul's got the inside juice there with his little computer machine, so he already knew that Dallas now has a 2-touchdown lead with just over 5 minutes to go. But they're in the third quarter, so a lot of time left in that game. All right, let's go to Floyd in Michigan. Hi, Floyd. Patriots pregame show fueled by Dunkin. What's happening? Floyd? Oh.
Is that Floyd?
Everybody?
Yeah, we got you.
Hey.
We got you.
First thing, I have 2 questions, but first, Mr. Michael Dussault.
Yeah.
Sir, keep doing a good job. Don't let these optimistic people bother you. You and Evan, you're good at your job, and don't let them change.
Appreciate you.
My 2 questions are, question number 1, the Vegas odds for the Patriots before the season started was 7.5 wins. After 1 week, they dropped to 6.5. My question is, why do you think there was a drop? And my second one is, why didn't the Patriots trade for Calvin Ridley? I hear he's in Jacksonville, and he's doing well. And I thought the Patriots were interested in him before he got in trouble with gambling. Those are my 2 questions. Thank you for your time.
All right. So
I'll take the second one first, and I'll let you guys
take
run
with it.
Yeah, well, the Calvin Ridley thing, I do think they had some interest in Calvin Ridley when he was in Atlanta and had some issues, off-field issues, not in terms of the gambling, but remember he took a leave. Like he had a mental, he needed a mental break, I think is how he put it to himself, about himself. And then he ended up going to Jacksonville. So, someone else made a trip. Once he got the suspension, that's when Jacksonville traded for him. So, obviously, if you trade for a guy that you know is going to be suspended for a year, you're not going to trade him at that point. You're going to ride out the suspension, and I'm sure that if you ask Doug Peterson, this is exactly what he would have hoped for, waiting for him for a year. So I don't think it really ever presented itself.
The gambling thing, I don't know. I mean, I guess because they lost a game,
I think
perhaps.
The 6.5 happened, 6.5 happened before the season started.
It didn't, and it wasn't every book. But if you want to know why a book went from 7.5 to 6.5,
tell us.
My guess would be too much money was coming in on the under.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we got to make the over more attractive,
right?
So we balance our books. No offense to my Vegas friends or to the bookmakers or the odds makers or any of these people, but whenever someone says Vegas knows something, I am of the belief that Vegas knows nothing other than how to balance their books.
Mm-hmm.
They know how to get.
They try to get the money spread out. Right?
That's it. They want the money spread out among a lot of teams for among the right people for MVP odds and on just, things like easy things like season win totals. They don't want a bunch of people to bet the over because they know it's going under. They want 50-50 action. I think most odds makers and most sports books would be thrilled if they could have a perfectly balanced book, week in and week out throughout the football season, because they win on the juice. They get 10%. That's all they want. Right. They're happy making their 10%.
I feel like people come up with that, though, when, like, say, I'll just use this week as an example where I took in the Thursday night game, I took the points on Philly and Minnesota covered by, a half a point, which I like. And those are the times when I feel like people are like, what did Vegas know? They must have known something where they, they managed to get it right within that half a point kind of difference. Those are the times when it's like, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And what was the line on the Cowboys-Giants game last week? Was it Cowboys minus 40?
39.5, I think.
Yeah, was it?
So they almost nailed it.
So was it Cowboys minus 40? No, they know nothing. If they know so much, why was Colorado, their win total, 3.5? 2.5?
Right. And I agree with you. And I do think the goal is to try to spread the money. And I think an example of it is the first game of the year for the Patriots, the Eagles game last week. From what I read, it was the highest handle of any game. And the line kept going down, which meant all the money was on the Patriots. I mean, it started off the other way. I'm sorry. All the money originally was on Philadelphia, and then it started to move. Those are the ones they really like. A lot of people go to your line of thought, like, why is this line all of a sudden? Because now they're trying to get people to bet on the Patriots, right? Because like Hardy says, when it's all on Philadelphia, they want it to spread out a little bit, and then what ends up happening? They ended up covering. So that's one of the few times that, according to these people that tweet this stuff, like DraftKings and all these things, our old buddy Ryan Hannibal works for one of them now, and that's an indication that they wanted the Patriots to cover that game because they felt like all the money was on Philadelphia. And rarely does it work out like that they don't win that way.
Yeah. So,
but I agree with what Hardy said. It's not about necessarily – like they do a lot of research and they have a lot of mathematical analysis that goes into setting the numbers. But if they knew, like Hardy said, you wouldn't have 40-0 games when the spread is like 2.5.
Right. Like I was just looking for what the spread on the Giants game here. Cardinals are +4, right? They're up 14 right now. Okay, what is Vegas? No, Giants aren't all that bad. I don't know. They look like they might get it to within 7 here, but we got a lot of time left in this game. And you're right, Paul. They do the analysis of the teams. They obviously know football, and they know which team is better, and they have all these things that they factor in. Home field used to be worth 3 points. Now it's like 2. That has changed a little bit over the years when they're doing their algorithm and their calculus for what the line is going to be and stuff like that. But all that they're really trying to do is not only get like 50-50 action when the bet opens, but also leave room for some of the sharp action that comes in generally late.
So like the 7.5 number for the Patriots, I had heard, again, I know, like, I like to tease Fred about his like lack of knowledge of all these terms. I might know what the terms mean, but I don't know all this stuff. I am by no means, I am not a sharp. Like, I don't bet. I haven't really gambled, since high school. Like, I haven't been in this game in a long, long time.
High school?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the 7.5 is, that moves down to 6.5 because everybody's betting the under.
Yeah.
And now they're making it 6.5 to try to entice you to bet the over. That's perfect for them.
Well, here's another thing, though. There's a lot of different sports books and, like, locations and stuff. So, like, is this, like, a national kind of thing? Because, like, I would imagine, let's say if we went to, in Boston, we went to Everett, there probably maybe a little bit more bets on the Patriots, per se. You know what I mean? So there's always a little wiggle room, it seems like,
in general.
Or even the Raiders. Like, not that the Raiders are probably a good example because they, home fans, but wherever you go, you might get a different kind of sampling. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, I mean, they have, but that's all accounted for. It's like all the local betting, and in terms of like what's actually being placed in person, it pales in comparison to what's being bet online.
Yeah,
so that's a national number. Everybody has to get that number regardless of where you are. And I'm sure if it were New England only, the line would look much different on, say, like DraftKings, but they have to factor everybody else in. Everyone else is betting all over the country. So
all right. A little gambling deep dive there.
What do the sharps know?
Nothing, according to Hardy.
Nothing.
Just where the money's going.
That's
what they know.
The guys who really know, you've never heard of, and they never say what they know. They just sit back and
they don't have 800 lines.
They don't have and they don't do weekly phone-ins to radio stations because they don't have to. Tony in Canada, what's going on, Tony?
Hey guys, I heard you talking earlier today about whether this is a must-win or not, and I think it certainly is. We win tonight, and then we're all 1-1 throughout the division. If we lose, we're 0-2, and I think I see what's happening. I think it's just a downslide from there. But I wanted to ask you about.
No, Tony, and I'll let you continue, but I do think that divisional ramifications for, a win tonight, I'll hear arguments on this being a quote-unquote must-win. For the division, especially with the Jets next week. That's a good point.
Yeah,
you should factor that in.
I don't necessarily think it is a must-win, but it's pretty close. And that's what I started off with. I agree with Tony's all the points that Tony just made. I would agree with. You even off the whole division at 1-1.
If you were in Dallas for this game tonight, is it a must-win?
Not as much.
Oh, no.
So it's
I didn't know what you meant.
No,
sorry.
But you see what I'm saying? It's like, it's not just about the week. It has a lot to do with the opponent.
Well,
and
to me, it has a lot to do with
season.
the state that the opponent's in. The opponent's starting with 2 road games to open the season, one of which was on the West Coast. Now you're coming all the way up from Miami all the way up the East Coast, and that's tough travel to open a season. And I do think that weighs into it. I think this is a great spot for the Patriots. It's a great spot.
Fitzy just walked in wearing a TB12 jersey. I can't believe it. Yeah, I can't. This child.
Do I come in your living room in the middle of you working?
Come on in.
You know what I want
to
say about the
We've
game
lost control.
Is that if it starts off the same way it did last week against the Eagles, meaning that we can't run, I don't like our chances. Because then it's, what do they call it, a track meet, or we're basically just going against Miami through the air. I don't think we'll be successful. So I'm wondering, have you guys heard anything about who's playing the O-line, and what do you think our chances are if we can't run the ball like we couldn't last week? That's about all I had to ask for today.
Yeah.
Great, Tony. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Not yet. Looks like Emmanuel Strange are warming up, though, so early signs are positive.
All right.
Well, what about Brown and...
We haven't heard about them yet.
Oh, no, Brown. Oh, no.
I'm just assuming they're out.
Cowboy Dan ain't coming. Don't you worry about those guys. They're not playing, are they?
I mean, why are they listed as questionable?
I don't know, but if you're in concussion and you don't practice on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Do you know what they did on Saturday? I'm asking for a friend. I do not know what they did on Saturday.
No, I don't.
Somewhere in law school, they told you never to ask a question you don't know the answer to. I think I just did that. I don't know the answer to that.
Wouldn't it be doubtful, though, if Brown and So play, considering how, you don't just magically show up with a concussion, and it doesn't just go away in 5 days' time.
Fitzy joining us.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Patriots Pregame Show.
I would agree with that from a logic standpoint, but I'm just trying to figure out why they weren't ruled out.
Well, whoever invited Logic to a pregame talk show, especially here in Foxborough?
No, we don't.
Logic has no seat at this table, Hardy.
What are you doing during the game tonight? You giving away your stuffed animals and your T-shirts and
exactly.
scratchy
That's
tickets?
It. Yep.
Step right up, come right down.
Follow the bouncing ball.
Tonight we're going to play Wheel of Keno. Everyone gets a
see if we can win something.
You're doing some halftime sack race down there on the field. What are you doing, Fitzy?
Yeah, we're going to be doing it's the Dom steak tip race. 4 different people wear suits covered in steak, and they have to race their way around the stadium.
Oh my God!
Wouldn't that be great?
I bet
I'm
Boyd
giving
the dog
away
would
gold
like it.
right now.
They wouldn't outrun me. You got somebody covered in Dom steak tips. I'd run him down.
I would get after him like nobody's business.
Yeah, right.
So here's Tamir. We just did our thing on the field. I'm going up to do the pregame chalk talk in the Putnam with Tully Banta Kane. Got to tell you honestly though, any future talk show I do here is going to have a hard time living up to last week. Malcolm Butler was the guest in the Putnam Club for the pregame talk show.
Did he spill?
Did he answer the question?
Did he 30 straight minutes of
why he didn't play?
nonstop tea, just spilling left and right. I now know how he feels about every single former teammate, everyone in this organization.
Does he know why he didn't play in the Super Bowl?
He does not.
Okay. Well, then you know what?
Then you got
Epic
nothing.
fail.
You got nothing.
I tried.
I know. I
mean,
tried too at the Super Bowl.
I'm in a long line of history of trying to be the guy that gets the answer.
I
But
know.
I was just happy to see him in a good place, and the fans love him, and stayed for half an hour and did autographs and
Great
photos
guy.
with everybody. He is.
He's a great guy.
And
Yeah.
considering my favorite little part though was he said, so we were going through talking about, hey, you know, when you see the do your job video and you saw Jimmy Garoppolo throw the touchdown against you that Ernie Adams ordered in the practice, what was it like in the game? You know, did you see them line up in that formation after Flores famously said, Malcolm, go, and you get in there and you diagnose it? He goes, buddy, I was a rookie. I walked up to Brandon Browner and I said, hey, on this play, who do I got? And Browner said, you got this guy, you knucklehead. So Brandon Browner does not secretly get enough credit for that play.
That's great.
Hey, who I got?
I love that. I love
That'll
that.
be a new
It
t-shirt.
shouldn't be,
on the
no,
shop
it's not
desk.
Malcolm Go. It's Brandon. Tell him what to do.
Is it? Did he tell you he has a book coming out? He's doing a book?
Yes.
When's it coming out? Because he told us that in February.
Soon.
What's it about?
Okay.
What's that?
What's it
It's a
about?
children's book.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cute.
he wrote it with Malcolm Mitchell.
Oh,
No,
really?
He did. No.
It's kind of like a 50 Shades of Grey type of thing. It's, he's doing
Extremely sexual.
Yeah, it's not like a sexual mystery.
What is
novel.
what is wrong with?
It's a
I'm
weird
the one
it's
who
a
usually
weird
says
science.
inappropriate things.
Purely sexual. That was my weird science quote.
You
of the
know,
day, right?
usual
Sorry.
chips, dips, chains, whips.
Usual high school to
A missile, Gary. A missile in my house. Don't get me going
I
all
was
night.
expecting this for post game, at 2 a.m., but this is a little early.
Oh, yeah, we're punchy.
Who gets loopier tonight? You guys or me and Hart in the Brighton box?
Depends on the outcome.
Yeah.
Depends on the outcome. If it's bad, then I'm gonna be pretty loopy, and if it's good, I'll probably be pretty loopy too. It's just different kinds of loopy, right?
Big game tonight.
There it
boys.
is.
That
Wait,
scared me.
don't leave.
I gotta go do the talk
What's
show.
your key to the game?
My key to the game tonight? Oh, just no big plays. No, you can't get beat deep. That's all. Just this. I mean, if you execute the same game plan
That's all.
defensively that they did in the opener last year in Miami, they only give up 20.
That won't be good enough.
But they only gave up 13
Yeah.
points on offense.
Yeah.
Trent Brown whiffs
Yeah,
on a blitz pickup to give up a
I
free
know.
7.
It was
not
17 nothing
playing.
at the half. If they're down 17 nothing at the half, it will not end well.
It's well.
I'm just telling you.
Spoiler alert: it doesn't end well for all of us.
I mean,
but-
it's a 20 to nothing game. I don't really care what happened after that.
That was,
Wow.
no.
He's talking about death.
I've heard that. I've heard that a million times. Like,
Hey, Valar Morghulis, even Tom Brady.
You need to see how it unfolds. Like when they needed to move the ball in the first half to get a lead, they did. And if they do that tonight, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, listen, don't forget 5.9 yards a carry they gave up last week against the Chargers. I think Mondre and Zeke can hopefully keep the ball out of Tua's hands long enough to maybe just squeak out a 3-point win tonight.
How many
Okay.
points did they score last week?
Oh, boy.
36.
When the other team ran the ball for how many yards? 225?
240 yards, yeah. Hey, how many points did the Patriots give up last week on defense?
12.
Yeah.
Well, 16. But
Right now,
I got to give him credit for the 4.
right now, on behalf of all the listeners, I feel like Jabril Peppersing you, just charging right into you, just giving you a good one.
That's the. I mean, they gave up 4 field goal drives, and I would say they gave up the touchdown on the
Yes.
fumble. I don't want to give all 7 of them. It was a short field, but you are allowed to force a field goal.
Should the Patriots kick a field goal tonight? Should they attempt to kick a field goal tonight?
You
What do
think maybe you got to
Bold
give
strategy, Cotton.
Let's see if it
Bold
works out
strategy.
for him. I know. Give Ryland a chance, huh?
Yeah.
Give Hope, Peace, and
That's
Ryland
all we're
a
saying.
chance.
That's all we're saying.
Nick Foles kicked a game winner down in Tennessee today, right after DeAndre Hopkins caught a third. Did you see that?
No.
Oh yeah,
Hopkins caught a pass.
Nick
got him in
Foles.
field goal
Excuse me,
range.
Nick Foles.
No,
Folk
Nick
came in.
Nick Foles
40
kicked today.
41-yarder.
Wow.
Nick Folk kicked a game winner for the Titans.
How far?
41-yard game
41
winner.
yards
Perfect.
after DeAndre
Nick
Hopkins
Maybe no one was listening. 41-yard game winner.
had a big third down reception to move the ball downfield into field goal territory. I'm like,
How about that?
those guys are good.
Cue Bob Lobel.
I
How come
definitely
we can't
think
get
we could
guys like that?
see. Definitely think we could see Chad Ryland kicking up more field goals tonight. I think not.
How about attempting a?
Well, yes,
would be more.
and not going forward on fourth down every single time. I think the conditions out there are great. It feels amazing outside. There's no rain. There's no elements happening. So it's very crisp.
It is. It's like a nice honey crisp apple
Is it
outside.
crisp?
It's a nice cup of Fuji cider.
We should go to Honey Pot Hill.
I'm in.
Okay.
I'm in. You want to
Where's
just
that?
you want a lady you want a lady in the tramp some donuts with me?
Yeah, oh my God!
I just
cider
did
donuts.
actually. Me and Hardy already did that on a butternut. It was
did.
delicious.
Hey guys, big
Oh,
fan.
do I
First
need a
time, long
raise.
time. I gotta go.
Bye,
Love you all.
Fitzy.
Bye, Fitzy.
All right.
Thanks, Fitz.
Connor's Farm too. I like Connor's Farm in Denver. See you, buddy.
We'll see you on the postgame show.
You didn't go to Lookout Farm in over there in was that
Needham?
Needham?
Nah.
Wellesley? Somewhere there. Sorry.
Nah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Get some apples.
All right.
Pick them.
My daughter works at a place now too, selling mini apple cider donuts in the fall.
Oh. Yeah, those
and
are
you
good.
think
they are good.
So you should bring us some.
First of all, they cost like
like $6 for 4 donuts, something like that, right?
oh well, there's like a little like package of them, and I went up to her window. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy some for my daughter. She's like, yeah, $12. I'm like, for that thing of donuts? She's like, Dad, hurry up. There's people behind you. I'm like, okay, and they're kind of bite-sized, so you don't feel bad about eating the entire package. Next thing I know, I'm going to have Morel doing a calorie count next to me. He already shamed me from eating a brownie earlier, so I don't need that in my life.
Did he?
I wasn't shaming. I was warning.
No, you don't want those brownies.
Wow.
I would just like to say today's the day,
the
though,
brownies,
where
yeah.
calories don't count because we just need the sugar. And
Brownies are not
everything to
worth
keep us up.
420 calories.
Yeah, there's donuts right here. You can take those. Those are worth it.
All right.
Ish.
I will have more. I've already had-
Calories don't count on game day.
Okay. Well done. All right.
Words to live by. Calories don't count on game day.
Hey,
I go with
ahead.
that every day of the week, but that's just me.
You know, when you're talking about Dom's steak tips earlier, I just want to let you know that Dom's sausage is the official steak tip of the New England Patriots. You can order them online for nationwide delivery at domsausage.com. Use promo code PATS15. That's PATS15 for 15% off. That's promo code PATS15. Thank you very much. Webradio at Patriots.com. You can email the pregame show just like Russell in Arkansas. I took my wife and daughter to Disneyland this week, so I've missed all the shows. So here's an off-topic question for you guys. If Mac were to get if Mac were to get a season-ending injury, like what the Jets are going through, do you think Bill and Robert stick with Zappy, or do they make a call to Tom? This is coming off the story that Rap Sheet wrote about Tom's minority ownership of the Raiders not being followed.
I think they start with Zappy, but I don't know if he'd be the one. I think they might have to pick up another veteran.
Well, they would pick somebody up, I would think, but Zappy would have to play.
But Tom Brady, Paul.
Nah.
I don't think Brady has any interest in continuing playing.
I think he's all done.
Yeah.
I think he's all done. Now watch him come back. I still think he's all done.
I think he's done.
All right, back to the phones. 855-PATS-500. Olivier in Virginia. Hello.
Hello, how have you been?
Oui. How are you? Where have you been? I can't do it as well as Andy used to do it to mock you, but how are you?
That's okay. That's why he's no longer on the show.
Correct. Correct.
Sacre bleu.
Just wanted to call and say hi. I haven't spoken in ages. Just wanted to see how you guys were doing. Been following you, obviously. And I have to say that the show, ever since Andy has left, has increased in content. And I would say
I'll be sure to pass that along.
Yes.
Knowledge.
Yep.
In everything associated with it. And wanted to compliment you guys on that.
Oh, mon ami. Merci.
Thanks, Olivier.
Merci.
You're welcome. You all deserve a raise.
Oh, that's
Who should I call?
Fred Kirsch, I have his
Anyways,
cell phone number. Hold on, let me give it to you.
I was telling Matt that I'm recovering from an Achilles tendon rupture.
Oh.
Just like Roger. It's been a nightmare, and I can only appreciate what he's been going through. It's been 3 or 4 months for me, and it's still not the way it's supposed to be. So I don't think he's going to come back ever. But on another note, what do you guys
ever?
think that I'm sorry?
Did you just say you don't think he's going to come back ever?
No, I think he's going to come back potentially, but it's going to take a while to heal back.
Oh,
So
okay.
probably
You
next year,
mean like that nonsense he was talking about playing in the Super
right.
Bowl?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I don't think so.
I think he wants to come back and play next year, though. I think he will.
for sure.
You
For sure.
You had it.
Yeah, and he's got to give hope to the Jets.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyways, my
Go ahead.
sorry, Paul, go ahead. No, I insist. You have the privilege of wisdom.
Well, first of all, it's Hardy and I do not. But it's hard for me to believe that Rodgers suffering an injury like that, which you can come back from, would choose not to come back when it would be so obvious that it would be his choice not to come back. This is something that you can come back from. You know, this is.
You can.
Yeah, I mean, it is not something like, oh, and believe me, that was something that was talked about right away. potentially career-ending and all that stuff. He made the switch. He did the big thing. He went to the new team. That's the hard part. Suffering this injury, I'm sure it's not fun, and the rehab isn't easy. But guys come back from this and play pretty consistently in sports. This is something that you do have you can absolutely recover from and play. Especially, I hate to say it, quarterback in the NFL. He's not Lamar Jackson. He doesn't have to go out there and make tons of plays all the time. He needs to, stand in the pocket and throw. He can do that. So if he did not, it would be apparent to a lot of people, or a lot of people would take it as, oh, he just wanted the money and he really didn't care about playing anymore. And I don't think he wants to go out like that.
Hardy, I think that if he was a pocket guy, and if he had thrown the ball as soon as he could instead of dancing around, it would not have been injured, I think. And I think he's going to change the way he's going to play.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
He was a little casual on that play. I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, I don't want to take too much time. Wanted to say hello. It's good to hear your voices, and I'll be in touch, and go Pats.
All right, thanks,
Olivier.
All right, good to hear from you.
I like imagining Zach Wilson leads the team to the AFC Championship, and then Aaron Rodgers I'm ready to go, and all right, Zach, you're out. Aaron's back in.
Well, the funny part about that is no one even brought that up. Okay, so let's play it out. I can get back because 5 months is actually the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So you're telling me if the Jets go on a run to the Super Bowl, it's going to be despite Zach Wilson? He's not going to have anything to do with it to the point where you have to make that move?
Crazy.
And no one even brought that up. It's all I wonder if you could make it back in time. No.
Right.
If they go to the Super Bowl with Zach Wilson's going to have done something that I don't think he's capable of. Which, by the way, he just did another one of those roll to the right and throw it to the other team thing.
It's like that. Just the Patriots draw it up.
The game's over now, so it doesn't really matter. He actually wasn't really that bad today, but that was a typical Zach Wilson interception.
He topped it off with a perfect, like he does against the Patriots all the time. Mwah. Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss.
I have a question.
Oh, I just pulled up Spee, but go ahead and ask your question.
You can go ahead. Did you already?
I already.
No, you please. You first.
See?
I mean, it's not really Patriots related, so we can go to him.
No, maybe Spee wants to chime in on him. What is it?
Oh, well, they are our opponents next week, so it's fine. But what is it with the Jets not being able to develop a quarterback? They've picked ones in the first round, and they've all been busts. It's is it just a bad? I don't want to say a bad draft.
It's all different things. It's ultimately it's hard to find a quarterback. It's hard to find. I mean, and I think the Jets have traditionally just had terrible luck too, and that's kind of the weird thing you can't separate from it. But we've had Mark Sanchez, who came in here and knocked the Patriots off when the Patriots were at the prime of their powers and played perfectly, and yet somehow 2 years later, he's basically out of the league. So it's hard.
Because I'm if you put Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson drafted somewhere else for first round, would they have been busts, or was it just
I think they probably would have been.
Well, Darnold is proven to be a bust elsewhere, so I would say yes with him.
And Wilson just keeps making the same dumb mistakes here.
He keeps rolling right and throwing it to the wrong team. So
yep, same mistakes.
All right, sorry, Spee, but thanks for holding. What do you got for us?
Not at all. Yeah, I'll be at the Jets game on the 24th, so I'll crack the sideline, tackle Salah, and try to ask him for you why they can't.
Cool story, Hansel.
Oh boy.
Who's your favorite kid in the hall? Great show, man.
Oh, who's my favorite kid, or what's my favorite episode, or favorite sketch?
No, favorite actors. Mark, Dave, Bruce, Kevin, Scott.
I was partial to Bruce because he also put out a comedy album, which I liked. The Bruce McCullough. I forget the name of the album, but it was pretty good.
Funny. I think they're all awesome. I wanted to. So Barmore. I don't know why I'm just big on Barmore for this game. I don't. Maybe two pressures, a stack, a pass deflection. He's going to have a big game. And I guess my question is, why hasn't he had more big games? Do you think that he's coming on? Do you think that he just had a good first year and there isn't that much more there? Or how do you explain the full sort of arc of his career so far?
Yeah,
great question.
It is.
I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Great
question.
I think I would jump in and say he showed a lot of promise as just a pure interior pass rusher as a rookie, and that's what he does really well. Last year he was kind of hurt and never really got on track. I would say this year, I mean, I wouldn't say, we didn't really see him stand out a ton in camp. Maybe had a couple plays. Like Cody Rusey kind of rang him up a little bit. One play, I remember. But I think, he played a lot more last week. Like, he's starting to get out there on early downs, which is something I wanted to see. Tough assignment last week, though, with Jalen Hurts, trying to keep him in the pocket, that kind of stuff. I think I agree with you, Spee. If you're going to see Barmore start to get back to that kind of like, a next level perhaps, I think it could be potentially this game where he's playing a lot on early downs and he's getting after the quarterback early.
All right.
All right, Spee. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
There he goes.
I would agree on Barmore, and I don't have an answer. I like him. He's like a guy that I'm really intrigued with, but I am starting to think he is just sort of an interior situational pass rusher. I don't really think he does a great job against the run. I thought he got turned. I know some people disagree with me. I thought he got turned early in that game, and he eventually made way for Lawrence Guy. I think they were trying to do exactly what you're talking about, Mike. What do we have here? They did it in the preseason game as well in Tennessee. Was it Tennessee that he was playing and they got run on a little bit? Oh, Green Bay. Green Bay, yeah. It was the Green Bay game where all the starters played a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's really good, and I think he can play, but I haven't really seen it on a consistent basis.
All right, we're going to step aside here and thank Dunkin. The Patriots pregame show is fueled by Dunkin. Kick off your week with free coffee Mondays. That's right. Tomorrow is a free coffee Monday. Every Monday from now until October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with purchase. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. America runs on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Exclusions, additional charges, and terms may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Dunkin' Rewards members, score big. Get a free medium hot or iced coffee every Monday all month long with purchase. Not a member? Join on the app right now. America runs on Dunkin'.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
TouchView Interactive from the Yokers Company offers New England's leading schools and businesses technologically advanced and easy-to-use interactive displays, providing enhanced collaboration and improved student outcomes in the classroom, and an easy way to foster communication and teamwork in any business environment. Available in multiple sizes, TouchView also offers a built-in VC, allowing for easy use through video conference systems. For more information, visit okers.com.
By the time this Patriots fan is finished drinking his Pepsi, you'll be 15 seconds closer to game time. Patriots watching. Better with Pepsi.
Dunkin' Rewards members, score big. Get a free medium hot or iced coffee every Monday all month long with purchase. Not a member? Join on the app right now. America runs on Dunkin'.
This is the Gillette Labs with exfoliating bar. The bar and the handle removes unseen dirt and debris ahead of the blades for effortless shaving in one efficient stroke.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get my plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want on your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get my plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like my plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get my plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get my plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
Anybody see Andy Hart?
You can't see him.
Yeah,
The camera's too high. He's right next to him,
Oh,
actually.
oh. Deuce working blue as usual.
No, he wasn't.
I just meant that he's short.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
I did. Just meant he was short.
Yeah, I know, but I liked the inference better than the actual joke.
No, so did I. I didn't even think of that. But
No, it was much better.
That's Paul for you.
Patriots pregame show. It's fueled by Dunkin. It's Hardy. It's Mike Dussault. It's Tamara, who is here with us again. Where do you go when you leave? You left and then you came back. Where did you go? You had things to do?
Is this thing on?
Yeah.
I'm booked and busy.
Okay, but what were you doing? Were you out doing stuff in the stadium? Were you doing stuff?
Yeah, doing stuff in the stadium. I am in-arena hosting with Fitzy. Then
Okay.
I have little things to do with the marketing team.
Okay, all right.
You know? And then when I leave randomly throughout pregame show, I'm also in the control room getting ready for pregame warm-ups so that you guys can be able to see that and talk about it.
Okay. All right.
You know?
I'm excited for it tonight. I want to see some
on the resume,
throwbacks.
or not your resume, on your job description when it says other duties is assigned.
Yes.
Me.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you something, because somebody asked me this the other day just kind of randomly. It was about it was a Patriots rivalry question. It was actually Adam 12 over on Rock 92.9.
Love you guys.
Yeah, well, thank you very much.
Great.
But Adam is a self-proclaimed non-football guy, and he put something up on the station's website now because it's all about clicks. He tried to write this Patriots rivalry story.
Oh.
He's like, who are the Patriots' biggest rival? I said, that is a question that has plagued even Patriots fans for years. Yankees, Red Sox may not be much of a rivalry now because they both stink and it kind of doesn't matter, but there's still no question as to who the Red Sox' biggest rival is. It's the Yankees, even if the rivalry doesn't make a lot of sense for stretches of time.
Yeah.
The Bruins, you can identify a few teams that they really dislike, Montreal chief among them.
Of course.
The Celtics, you might say Lakers, even though it's a different conference on the other side of the country. You could bring up, 80s Pistons teams, and you could have a couple few in the conversation. For the Patriots, though, in terms of a rival, now some of this is, I guess, informed by the fact that the Patriots were so good and so dominant against so many teams for so long, it's difficult to have a true rivalry going. But if there is a short list of rivalries for the Patriots, are the Dolphins on the list?
I think so. I mean, I think who your rival is a little bit of a reflection of who you are. And in the 2000s, you would have said their rival is the Colts. They're not even. I mean, they were initially a divisional team, but eventually that's a conference rival. You might have said the Steelers. Then we got in the 2010s. You'd say who are their biggest rival? I mean, it certainly wasn't the Bills. They were hammering the Bills every week.
It was kind of the Jets.
I think that's what I think it
is.
It's always the Jets and the Dolphins, and that goes back. No matter how good or bad the Patriots are, I think you always want to beat the Dolphins and the Jets. The Bills, I think, is just a reflection of how many times they smoked them. I mean, whatever, they won't beat them 20 straight times or something.
And now they beat the Jets so many times that it's harder to think of them as a rival as much as I do the Dolphins. It's always been an issue playing in Miami.
Always.
That good teams lose to the Dolphins in Miami when the Dolphins were not that good. So to me, this is a team that deserves consideration.
Yeah, and Miami always, I don't want to say always. I mean, there certainly were a few games down there, 2007 coming to mind, where Patriots just rolled. But otherwise, even when you had really good Patriots teams, it was always a tough battle down there with Miami. And I think even when the Jets were terrible and you'd beaten them however many straight times, I still think that Jets, like, the juice always gets going for the Jets no matter how many times you've beaten them, what it's looked like, how the Jets look. So I'd put those two at the top. But, you'd love to get back to a point where you'd say, hey, Kansas City's a rival. I think Kansas City was a rival 2016, 2017, 2018, in those areas.
Oh, my God, that AFC Championship game is enough to, make you think, wow, that's a real rivalry there. Not quite. Didn't have the same there wasn't the hatred either. You might think Travis Kelce is a bit of a hardo, but it's hard to dislike Patrick Mahomes.
No, you can find a way, but but you're right. You're right. You don't see him all that much.
Might dislike, maybe his brother, but it's,
or his wife.
But I guess you could say the same thing about Peyton Manning. Like, Peyton Manning was not an inherently dislikable guy. Like, the worst thing you could say about...
He's so not dislikable. He's very likable.
Well, that was the thing. Like, back in the day, the worst thing you could say about Peyton Manning was he did too many commercials.
Right.
Like,
cut that meat.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the PD thing. There's, like, something a little fishy going on there. But not enough to, like, really put him in the Patriots fans' bad graces.
No, and that's what the difference is now, where, like, when you were going against these teams in the AFC Championship, like, as much as people get angst about Peyton Manning, like, I think everybody generally thought Peyton Manning's a really good quarterback, and this is, part of the fun. Whereas, like, I don't think you've really had that with the Jets and the Dolphins. Like, even when they had, we had Tip on this week who did talk about Dan Marino and, how much respect he had for Marino. But there was, you never really reached that level. I guess with the Bills right now, you have that kind of respect for Josh Allen. Certainly what he did today with a nice bounce back week for him. But, I think rivalries... I love when Rex Ryan was with the Jets. It made it so much fun.
That was fun.
It made you angry. Like, oh, God, I hate Rex Ryan. I want to beat, it just really got you emotionally invested. I wish there was more of that.
I feel like this year we would have been emotionally invested in the Jets game had Aaron Rodgers not gotten hurt. I feel like next week's game would have been, like, way more amped up, but now it's like Zach
You would have
Wilson.
gotten some of those rivalry juices flowing again if Aaron Rodgers wasn't. And let me look, Tamara, I think it's a great point, because if the Jets do win next week, it's probably going to fuel it afterward, and maybe get the whole rivalry thing going again. But leading, like going into it, no, it doesn't have the same venom, doesn't have the same juice. It's like I think about it from a Jets fan perspective. This is not the movie I bought the ticket for.
No.
And I bought this ticket months in advance. I couldn't wait for opening night. And this is what we're left with now. This sucks.
Yeah. And it's like you obviously have to respect them because they have a really great defense.
Sure.
And obviously they have, great pieces on offense. But with Zach Wilson leading it, it's just like, ugh. It's like not the same.
Well, I think that's exactly what the defense, that noise that Tamara made, like, it's Zach Wilson. Ugh. Like, when it happened to Brady in 2008, he went down, first quarter, I don't know, it was the second possession, maybe the game. Matt Castle came in, and there was certainly, like, he had a bad preseason, and everybody was kind of like, oh, no. But there wasn't, like, this built-up hatred already for Matt Castle. It was just kind of, like, worry that we don't think this guy might not be good enough. And he, turned out to be a pretty good player, but just so unique with the Jets, where it's like, not only do you lose Aaron Rodgers, now you have to, like, it almost like feels like you wish you got rid of Zach Wilson so that everyone didn't do what Tamara just did. Like, Zach Wilson, oh, God, that's who we got to go back to. And there's so much angst already built up towards him.
For the Dolphins and that, for their part in the Patriots rivalry lore, I think one of the things that affects it is, we're talking about this from a fan perspective because obviously we don't play. Mm-hmm. And in order to have a real rivalry, you need to have rabid, invested fans on both sides. Mm-hmm. I think the Dolphins are missing that a little bit. Mm-hmm. And look, if I lived in Miami, I probably wouldn't be as into sports either. It's, it was always the knock on San Diego, whether you're talking about the Padres or the Chargers when they were there. Like, oh, people don't care about sports. Yeah, because you live in San Diego. You don't have to. You can just go outside and enjoy life. You don't have to be that into your team. There are other things to care about. Yeah. And I think that's kind of the knock on Miami is that they don't have the rabid fan base that helps to fuel the rivalry. And that's That's one of the things that's missing.
As someone who, I used to live there, obviously, and work at the University of Miami, it's like, even for the college games, nobody wants to go to that. I'd rather be on a beach party. I'd rather go on a boat party. It's there's just so much more to do. Obviously, they show up for the bigger matchups, though. I think for Miami, they'll show up for a Florida game. They'll show up for, speaking from the college standpoint, they'll show up for those games. But for the average game, no.
So we got inactives.
What do you got?
Jonathan Jones is inactive. Anthony Jennings, City So, Trenton Brown, Keyshawn Booty, Sam Roberts, and Amir Speed. So Jonathan Jones' absence, certainly a big one. Played really well last week. And we all know he's had some success against Tyreek Hill. So that's a little bit of a blow. Not a lot of depth, too, with Amir Speed out. So really your outside corners are Gonzalez, Wade, and then you've got Marcus Jones and Miles Bryant at cornerback. So we'll see what happens on the offensive line as well with both Brown at left tackle out. Will they swap Calvin Anderson back to the left side and maybe put Vidarian Lowe in at the right side? All those guys have kind of played both sides, so I don't know. Perhaps they could choose to keep Calvin Anderson on the right side, maybe put Lowe in the left. But Michael Menu, Cole Strange are active, so that's some good news. But certainly I think the headline is not having Jonathan Jones, who, not only is just an outstanding cornerback, he's a leader, he's a veteran, he's gone up against these guys. He knows what he's doing out there. So I think that's a blow in more ways than one.
All right.
Also, I think it's interesting to see Keyshawn Booty on here, especially because he came off the injury report.
Yeah.
I think that's a little bit.
I think it's Jalen Rieger, and so I think they're gonna. Last week what they did was we didn't have Devontae Parker, who is another one we should point out is good to go. So I think that's a good sign. How much is he going to be ready to play with that knee injury? We'll see. But I think Jalen Rieger gives them somebody who has a little bit of experience and obviously some speed, potentially to use on the outside, maybe instead of putting Booty in there, which I kind of like that they did last week. They just he can't go, Parker can't go. Let's just throw the kid out there and let him play a bunch of snaps. It wasn't productive, so maybe I'm wrong to say that now that maybe they should have gone with Rieger, but he needed probably some time to get assimilated into the system. So I don't know. I'd like to see Rieger out there a little bit. We all love wide receivers. Anytime you've got a former first-round pick, I know he's been not living up to that status, but hey, he's in our building. Maybe he will here.
Thank you for bringing up Keyshawn Booty, though, because I had a Louisiana-related joke for Tamara.
Oh.
Tamara, why did the alligator cross the road?
I don't know. Tell me.
Because he wanted to be by you.
I really wish Paul was here to hear that.
See, by you, Tamara, but also down on the bayou. You understand the joke?
I do. Unfortunately.
Oh my God!
I need Paul to be in here for that. That was a palms up. What are we doing?
I'll tell it again. I'll tell it again when Paul comes back.
Please do.
Room. All right. So inactives once again. Rattle them off for us, please, Deuce.
Sure. You have Keyshawn Booty, Trent Brown, City So, Amir Speed, Jonathan Jones, Anthony Jennings, and Sam Roberts. Wow. So.
Okay.
The offensive line, they giveth and they taketh away. They giveth back to us Cole Strange and Michael Onwenu after 1 week, but they're going to take Trent Brown, which, and I wonder, with So, would he have been the right tackle if he had been healthy? I don't know.
Right. Well, I'm glad Strange and Onwenu are playing because they were limited. Were they limited all week?
Yeah, they've been on the injury report, all week. And I mean, it's kind of funny how it works out that way. I mean, I think when we talked a lot on Patriots Unfiltered, it was, we feel like they're getting ready for Onwenu to play week 1. And, I guess he wasn't quite ready to go. Needed an extra week to get going.
Wasn't there a report about Jonathan Jones after the day that he missed practice one day altogether? Was that Wednesday he missed?
Thursday he was limited.
Okay.
And there were reports that it was a veteran day off.
Thank you.
Then he was not practicing on Friday, and those reports quickly said, well, I guess it wasn't a veteran day off. But what this is not meant to, because it was Mike Giardi that I think that wrote it. And, I know, strange as it may be, hard as it may be to believe, I really like Mike. So I am not putting him in the category of a lot of other people that I would normally sort of make fun of here. I would just say that Mike probably wants that one over. You're not limited on a day that they're giving you a veteran day off. You're off.
Yeah.
So that to me, like when I saw that, I was like, I don't think it was a veteran day off. But be that as it may, he's not playing tonight, and I think that is a real impactful injury in that secondary.
Yeah. Yep. It definitely is.
All right, let's get back to the phones. Jake is in Australia here. Jake, you're on the Patriots Pregame Show, which is fueled by Dunkin. How you doing, Jake?
Not too bad. And you guys?
We're doing well, thank you. What is it, like Monday morning over there?
Monday morning about 9 o'clock.
That's crazy, dude. You're so much ahead of us.
It's in the future.
What's the future like? Jake in Australia calling from the future.
I just wish I could see what the result of today's game would be.
Oh, come on.
That's all right. That's all right. What do you think? I mean, what were your thoughts on the game before you learned about Jonathan Jones being inactive? Does it change anything?
My thoughts are, I wonder if they're going to listen to our OC, Evan Lazar, after this beautifully heated week on PU, and I reckon they'll be right.
Oh, everything's going to be fine.
It might be a few hiccups, but I feel like we're going to start better than we did last week.
Yep.
We've got the first week down, and it's go time.
Okay. Jake, thanks for the call. I think a good start and a fast start for this team tonight is almost a given. I don't think they're going to go down 16-0 to start the game tonight. Now, what's the grimace for?
I mean, why? I hope so, but I mean, this is a really good offense. I don't really I'm not going to just assume that Miami isn't going to.
Oh, how about 14?
Go right down the
how
field.
How about 14-3? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, give me something. You know, put some points up on the board on one of your first couple of possessions. That's all.
I just don't want them to be self-inflicted points. Like, that's what I don't want. If it's like 2 turnovers that Miami capitalizes on, like, that's what I don't want.
16-0 was obnoxious too, because I had to sit next to Jim Louth watching the game, where he just kept saying this. Paul, you would love this. Oh, it's a 2-score game. It's just a 2-score game. Right. No, it's not. You can say that and you can think that, and mathematically you're correct, but you're wrong.
Could you call it a 4-score game?
I would absolutely
I would call it a
4-score
2-score game, but like, did you watch it? Like, you ain't you watching, Hoopa? Like,
I don't think so.
Also,
listen, now the Patriots rebounded and they got back in the game.
Yeah.
Right? But
I need them to do what.
It's not a shark.
I need them to do what the Giants look like that they're about to do right now, and it's like they had a
comeback.
They had a slow start again today, but they overcame it, and now they're hopefully about to win with 2 seconds left.
Well,
but it's like
it's
like not enough to get back in it. I need you to get over the hump too.
And I think you're kind of speaking to the point of, when we're talking about, is this a must-win? I think a lot of the conversation has been around, like, standings-wise, and, like, we're going to be 0-2, and what does that mean? And those are valid things to discuss. But I also just think we're kind of waiting for the Patriots to win this game. To win, going up against Miami with all their weapons. We've been waiting for this for a while to have another chance. And, the last couple of years when they've gone up against this team, a divisional team that, they should know very well that, the road to the playoffs goes through games like this. This is what we're waiting for. And that's, as much as win or loss, I feel like it's about not just about the record, but it's about the feeling around the team and, like, can we get over this hump? Can we finally get back into the mix of contending for the AFC East? And I think with a win tonight, they would send that message. And with a win, with a loss, it's going to be, all right, we're going to be chasing it again this year.
Paul, why did the alligator cross the road?
Why?
Because he wanted to be by you.
Wow. That's pretty bad.
Twice now.
even for you.
Tamara acted like she didn't like it the first time, but now
she liked it better. It's growing on her.
I cannot. I told him he had
She's
to retell
laughing.
it because I'm like, I need Paul to hear this.
How much of it is in the delivery, do you think? 90%?
It was definitely giving Brian Kelly's Southern accent.
Well, yeah, I needed that. That's what I was. You got to set it up with the Southern accent.
Y'all been so welcoming to me and my
family.
My family.
That was so weak.
You think though, if you were immersed in like Louisiana, like you might just kind of, it might start sounding like that for you,
No.
like subconsciously.
No.
Oh, y'all. You wouldn't start doing y'alls?
Okay,
What about you? When you're
well-
down the south, do you start doing y'alls and stuff down there?
No, that's like saying when I come up here, do I start talking like I'm from New England? No.
Although my daughter did drop her first wicked in life the other day. And
Interesting.
I just kind of let it slide. But, I mean, they were born here. They were, Rosy Rat kids, born in Boston. They've never known any city other than Boston. But since, Blondie and I do not speak with Boston accents. They don't either. But some of the words, and I drop in a few. I don't say wicked ever, but she said something was wicked, something or other. I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Kind of that Michigan twang.
Well,
is it a twang? What is it in Michigan? I don't even know what we call it.
It's kind of like it's almost like a Chicago type of accent. Yeah, it's
pops and it's like soda.
Let's go to Livonia and get a pop. Get tires for my car.
Can I ask a quick question to those of you that keep track of this thing?
Yes, please.
What was the spread of the Rams and Niners game?
That was San Francisco minus 7.5.
Oh man, what a bad beat that was. Sean McVay just kicked a field goal as time expired to lose 30-23.
Oh, so
that's a bad beat.
He closed this. He closed it.
I would investigate that if I were Rog.
Wow, look at the Commanders and Broncos. What was that?
I don't want to talk about that game.
Okay.
I'm very, very hurt. It was 21-3 Denver, and they were in Washington territory in total control, and for no reason whatsoever, Russell Wilson fumbled the ball.
Well, again,
the game has completely changed since then.
What is up with all of these games being like that, though? I feel like even the Giants one, they were down 20-0 the last time I looked, and they came back to win this game. You said they were down, 21-3? It's crazy.
Well, again, what did Vegas know? Here's what Vegas knew.
That do they know?
The total on the Commanders and Broncos game was 38.5. What's the score right now at this moment?
35-24.
35-24. So the Commanders have almost blown up the total on their own without Denver's 24 points. What does Vegas know? Nothing. They know about getting.
You got the bookkeeper.
Money.
You got nothing.
You got nothing. All right. Let's do the over-unders, shall we, Matt?
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
Which is unofficially brought to you by the Massachusetts Office of Travel and Tourism. I'm just going to give them the sponsorship. How you feel about that?
I like it.
Great memories are made in Massachusetts, no matter how you choose to make them, indoors, outdoors, scenic views or city vibes, solo or family style, whatever moves you, whatever the season. Plan your perfect Massachusetts getaway at visitma.com. Last week's over-unders, how do we do, Mike? Matt? Whatever.
Mike went 2-4. Paul 3-3. Hardy 3-3.
So Mike did really poorly.
Really
last
terrible.
week.
Way behind.
Terrible.
Not you might have hold off on your slamming of Mike though.
That's right.
He does a little better later in the show.
Oh, what with
it's called foreshadowing.
Oh, with the stupid six-pack?
Yeah.
Nobody cares about those. The over-underers.
I mean,
that's why they go first.
No one cares about picking games.
Exactly.
Just tell us how many field goals Nick Folk is going to kick.
All right, Mac Jones passing yards 232.5.
Oh boy, I'm going to go first. Mac Jones 232. I'm going to go over.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over there too. Feel like the Dolphins' best pass defender is not playing, Jalen Phillips. So I think that bodes well for the Patriots.
Or Jalen Ramsey, for that matter.
You know, they got away with it last week with having this patchwork offensive line. I don't like their odds of getting away with it again this week.
Hardy.
So I'm going under.
Decisive.
I'm going to pencil in that under for Hardy based on that comment.
Well, did I have a reason for it? All Deuce said was, I'm going over.
It was a very good
I
reason.
like the Patriots.
I was going to say he's a homer.
Give me the over on all the offensive stuff for the Patriots.
He's a homer. I, on the other hand, picked the over because I think he's going to throw for more yards than that.
All good things for the
La,
Patriots.
He's going to do great. La, 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 la.
All bad things for the Dolphins.
I am not listening to Jeffrey. La, 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 la.
Jeffrey.
Hunter Henry receiving yards 32.5.
I am taking the over on Hunter Henry because I believe
Homer
that he is emerging as Mac's go-to guy. Yeah. I know the targets all went to Bourne. I think the easy money is Henry. I'll take the over there. Over there.
They're going to need him back to block. I'm going under.
I will give Hardy credit. He comes up with plausible reasons for his pessimism.
No, but I'm with you, Paul. I think he's. I just automatically,
Really?
obviously, he's gonna have like 300 yards receiving in my book, probably, because he's awesome.
He's totally awesome in his awesomeness.
You see, he's so awesome when he goes out there and catches passes for the Patriots.
Oh, that's awesome.
Rush had an album called Grace Under Pressure.
Tua passing yards, 264.5.
This is a Hardy, right?
Yeah, this is Hardy, and I'm going under because they listen to my key, and they're going to be blitzing him all day. He's not going to have time, so I'm going under.
I got finger wagged this week about pronouncing Tua's last name wrong.
Tagovailoa.
Because there's a tongue in there. There's a tongue in there. Not a tongue.
It's Tagovailoa.
He's got a tongue in there. Okay, I'm gonna go over. I think he's good. I respect him, and he's got good weapons, and they don't have Jonathan Jones, so I'm gonna go over 264.
I'm gonna take the over as well.
This is gonna be a bloody over/under.
Yeah,
Bloody.
I think, like Mike said, I think there's weapons there that he's going to be able to throw, and if the game gets out, if the Patriots get a lead and they have to throw a little bit more, I think that bodes well. Like either way, if Miami wins, I think it's going to be because they're going to make some plays in the passing game. If they lose and they're playing catch up, I think that leads to yards.
Okay, yeah,
Can't lose.
Now that is some reasoning.
I just kind of pulled that one out, but
it's good.
Okay, it's good.
The football.
It's good.
Total touchdown
You'd
scored, 4.5.
Oh, back to me.
Deuce.
I don't know what the homer pick is, but I'm going to go over 4.5 touchdowns.
So wait a minute. Hold on. Hold, please.
You got to figure out your score. Then you're going to retrofit it in with your prediction. Yep.
Over.
You added an end to finger. To figure. You said
Yeah,
figure out your score. Yeah, like Tagovailoa.
I know. Tongue.
You going over?
I went over.
We're all going over.
We're all in the over.
Longest touchdown yards, 39.5.
This is me?
Oh,
Yeah.
I will take the under on that.
You and me.
That's a long touchdown.
That's a long touchdown. You and me both. Going under.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it interesting. I'm gonna go over.
It's a DraftKings
Obviously,
number. What
it'll
do
be
the
a Patriots
sharps know?
touchdown. Obviously, a
Deuce,
Patriots touchdown.
Are you going to go all over?
Maybe I will.
Wow.
Feeling frisky.
Total score, 46.5.
Huh. Okay. Hardy?
What did I pick this game? I'll go over.
Geez, my score is. I'm not good at math.
I pretty much have to because I went over 4.5 touchdowns. So, I got to figure there's going to be points scored on both sides, 46.5. You're going to have
21-14. It's 5 touchdowns. Under.
Math.
Is
it me? I'm over.
It is you.
I'm over. I apologize. I'm over.
I am taking the over as well, just basically because that was my score prediction.
Okay. We did it.
Overs everywhere.
Paul, you didn't get a chance to really chime in on Jonathan Jones being inactive in terms of how it's going to affect the Patriots. I mean, it's just how big of a hit is this for them?
Yeah, I think it is significant, and we talked about it a little bit right off the top of the show. I think it might lead to Marcus Jones being a little bit more involved defensively with his speed. Miles Bryant, obviously had a big role last week. I just think it's asking too much for Jalen Waddle. I mean, Christian Gonzalez to have to handle Hill and not Waddle. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, those two guys I know it's just two guys, but they're really, really good players, and I think you're going to have to devote a lot of bodies to them.
Yep.
Can we just go back for a moment?
Do anything you want.
Go back for a moment here since we got only another 33 minutes of the pregame show here.
It's flying.
It is. We got an 8:15 kick tonight. Is that correct?
I thought it was 8:20.
I think it's more like 8:20.
Okay, good.
Which is why I was surprised.
I'm not even sure.
Even better. 6 should have been 6:05, but whatever.
Well, we like to not do that, so as not to confuse the listeners. That was me. That was a shot at me.
Wow.
Is that what it is?
No,
that was a shot at me.
You were able to flex and get it changed?
Yes, because
nice.
the ridiculous start time that we had last week was like 2:10 or something like that. Well,
it just gives us more time to have some chicken with the bone in it and some steak tips. So
yeah, right on.
Well, we didn't get any of that last week.
Did you guys watch much college football yesterday?
I watched a lot of the BC Florida State game.
You did?
I did.
I just watched the Holy Cross Yale game.
Okay.
He's more of an academic.
I just want to
watcher.
I want to ask this as guys who probably follow the college game a little bit more than I do. I think Paul does.
I would say I watch a
Not
fair
this guy.
amount of
Not this
college
guy.
football. I would no way consider myself
I just
an
like the
expert.
Patriots.
Okay.
I watched the whole first half of the Georgia-South Carolina game as well.
SEC having a down year?
I would say
They looking
yes.
a little off?
I would say yes. Alabama is not Alabama.
What? No kidding.
They don't have a quarterback, and that's tough to overcome. But I also don't think they have the depth that they once had. They don't have the. I don't think they have a lot of like dynamic element to their game, which they almost always have. So I think they're still struggling to find it. Georgia, I don't know. Georgia's one of those teams that they almost never really look overly impressive, and then you look up at the end of the game and they beat you by 2 scores.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't think there was anything that jumped at you yesterday, but you know, they got hit in the mouth in the first half. They were down 14-3 at the half. No big whoop. They scored the first 3 times they get the ball in the second half, and they win going away.
I think it's obvious when you look at Alabama, you look at Georgia, you've got these down programs that have just been so good for so long. And to me, that is second only to the story in Colorado, which is kind of mind-boggling. The number of new players that Deion Sanders got in there, the way they're playing. Now, they did not play well against an unranked team yesterday. That is a game that if they are that good, they should have won that game by 20 or more points. It should not have taken double overtime to beat Colorado State.
Yeah.
But
Now,
I have to give credit where it's due, and I'm not a Deion Sanders hater. I am kind of every once in a while just the guy that roots for things to not go according to script, and for them to get beat by Colorado State would have been a big flip of the script, and I think would have made things inherently more interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a Deion Sanders hater either. I'm more of a fawning hater. I just can't stand when people fall all over themselves around somebody or some element, you know, like they can do no wrong. And that's what the media right now with Colorado. It's like, and it's a great story.
It's
that he's taken 80 some odd players from elsewhere and brought them and they've won. But
it's a great story.
But you just said it, and I don't think a lot of people get it. They were 24-point favorites in that game yesterday.
Right.
Now, that said, Shedeur Sanders is really, really good. And to go 98 yards with the game on the line, I don't care if you're the favorite, the underdog, whatever. That ain't easy. And then they had to get the 2-point conversion, too. So
now again,
that was a pretty impressive performance.
Yeah, and to be fair, yes, Deuce?
Oh, sorry, can I get the...
You want the little power?
Thank you.
Power?
Little behind the scenes there.
Oh, he needs power cord. To be fair, I'm not saying that they should have beat Colorado State by 23.5 because that's what the line was. I think people are losing their minds betting Colorado right now. But if they are in fact that good and they got a couple of good wins against a couple of decent teams, then you should beat an unranked team by a minimum of 2 touchdowns and not need double overtime to just get a win.
Yeah, they're 3-0 with, and again,
I'll give them
great
10
story, but they beat 2 really bad teams in Nebraska and Colorado State. The good win on the road against TCU.
Yeah, I guess
sure.
Nebraska not good this year.
Here comes Mac. Look at those unis.
How about it? We got a little throwback tonight. Center of the field. I think we're going to probably get a shot of that at some point.
Is that Rodney in the background? I just saw my friend Rodney.
Oh, and there's
Tony Dungy.
The whole crew.
By the way,
Billy O.
And before we move off of the Colorado State thing, Paul, you say it's a good story in that it is a fascinating story. It is not necessarily a feel-good story, I don't think. I mean, do you feel good about the way college football now is you're able to just bring in 80 new players? I mean, is that something that we should be feeling good about?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that there's a lot of people that are really anti-transfer portal and the NIL stuff, but and I'm not necessarily a huge proponent of it, but that's reality right now in the college landscape for both basketball and football especially, and what are you going to do? I mean, it's not going back anytime soon. But what he's done is he's sort of like instilled a whole culture, and that's what I find impressive. Like, I don't think that's easy to do. How good are they? I don't know. I think you're going to find out the next couple of weeks. I think they have Oregon and USC in some order.
Yeah.
I think USC first, maybe, or I'm not positive. But Oregon's okay. USC's really good. So if they go, if they beat both of those teams, then maybe you'll say all this hype is definitely warranted. But I find him a fascinating character, Deion Sanders. I know a lot of people don't like him. They don't like the sort of brashness of his act. I've always liked him.
He's always been the same guy.
I've always found him very entertaining. Yeah. I just, I could do without, like we're trying to cover the games and it's Coach Prime. Like, I don't,
right.
Someone said to me today, like, would you ever like just referring to him as Coach Hoodie the whole game?
I could probably.
No.
No. Like, so I just, whatever. To each his own.
My favorite Deion Sanders fact is that he picked Scott Zolak off twice in one game, and on the second one, Zoe thought he would give him a late hit out of bounds. Do you remember this play?
No.
And they got into a scrum on the sideline, and Goldberg was the guy who came over and
wrestler.
Yes, he was on Deion's team at the time, and I either
He had
pulled
something for Zoe.
Was this in college?
No. I think it was here.
It's Paul. That's right. Paul's wheelhouse.
No.
Zoe,
early 90s
Early
Patriots?
now. That'd be too. Oh.
Guy,
Gotcha.
That's when even I was like, I'm out.
92.
2-14.
Yeah.
I'm not here for that.
And by the way, Paul, I know you're a red zone lover, but you don't love all things red zone.
Touchdown montage.
Largely useless.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but I know it's like their way of sort of signing off.
Okay, well, you know how else you could sign off? Bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair point.
And then do the score in the wrong order with the team that lost first.
Right.
Yeah.
For the final time.
Every
no, that's a fair point, Harvey.
Every touchdown from every game. Some of them are worth watching again. Some of them are 1 yard, scrums, and why did I need to watch that again?
So that was another element of the inactives, as was showing Demario Douglas right here on the screen. Keyshawn Boutte was one of them, and I know a lot of people yesterday when the elevations happened and Jalen Reagor was one of them.
Yep.
They were like, "Oh, this, Devontae Parker's going to be out again." That was like, no, Bootie's going to be out. Devontae Parker was out last week.
Yeah.
And they didn't elevate Reagor. Now you could make the argument maybe they didn't feel like he was ready to be elevated last week, and they do this week. But to me, it more signaled a turn to Boutte, who showed up on the injury report with a hamstring.
Yeah.
I thought there was a good chance that we weren't going to see him.
Do you think they'll give Reagor any run tonight? I mean, I said when you were out, could depend on how healthy Parker is. Maybe he's can give him a few snaps.
I would
but
agree with that.
Probably not going to just.
If Parker is healthy enough to play, then I don't think you'll see much of Reagor. And there is Jalen Reagor right there, wearing number 83. For those of you that track these sorts of things. I agree with you, Mike. I think if Parker's healthy, I think he would get the majority of the reps at X.
Yeah. Well, I would say, too, the ones where he's actually going to be targeted, because it's otherwise if you're just going to have him running down the field trying to, not even really be a target, just being a decoy to, then Reagor could probably do that, maybe have some speed. I don't know. I just think probably most fans out there kind of, know how bad Reagor's been and, why he's on the practice squad, but still a guy with some speed and some talent that, you're at least probably curious to see what he looks like.
All right, let's go to the phones here. We got Michelle in South Carolina here on the Patriots Pregame Show, fueled by Dunkin. Hi, Michelle. What's going on?
Nothing. The weather stinks here.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I have a favor to ask.
Okay.
Who's in control of your TV?
Well,
usually me or my wife.
Yeah,
I'm like
sometimes the kids.
What TV are we talking about?
Well, it's the TV that I'm supposed to be watching you guys on.
Oh.
Well, we got the warmups rolling right now.
Luch each.
I don't want. I want to be able to see you guys.
Well, but you've been looking at it. That we've been on for an hour and a half. We just now switched over to warmups.
Michelle, all due respect, I don't think anyone's ever said that.
Yeah.
I know, right? But I don't get to see them during the week.
Oh well, it'll switch back over to us pretty soon. Yeah, it'll switch back over pretty soon.
Okay, so why did they bring Reagor up? I don't really think we have a need to see him. And also, what about Kaseki? Do they have a plan to use him and what's his name?
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry. Do they have a plan to use them together instead of having Kaseki block so much or Henry block so much like they ended up doing with Gronk?
Well, we talked about this, and I think, Paul, this might be a little bit of a sticking point for you, the fascination or the obsession with the 2 tight end set and why it's not utilized more. I mean, do you have thoughts on it?
And I think they'll do some of that. I would expect to see some of the 2 tight end stuff. There was a little of it last week as well. But, yeah, I think that Gesicki is really kind of a slot receiver. So whether they call it a 2 tight end or, a 3 wide, I don't really get a lot really hung up on the formations as much. Do you guys remember last year, there was so much made of, well, they don't do any pre-snap motion. They're never under center. They never play action. Now Billy O's here. And then they were like last in the league in play action passes the other day. Now, why do you think that was?
I don't know. You tell me.
I would say, again, I don't know this is the right answer. I would say you have 2 guys filling in at guard. I don't want Mac Jones turning his back to the rush.
Yeah.
A lot. So I'm going to stay out of play action situations. But did it matter? No, they had a pretty productive day offensively.
Yeah.
Not as much scoring as they needed to do, but they certainly moved the ball pretty well.
Yeah.
So
they also couldn't run the ball, and that's part of play action too.
Yeah.
And Michelle, you may not get, to see some of this stuff you want to see out of this offense for a second straight week because of the patchwork offensive line, but I'm sure, like Paul said, they'll start to mix some of that in, and, we'll get there. All right?
Hey.
Yeah.
We both won today.
Okay. What?
We both won today.
Oh.
The game.
My pick and your pick. Right. Oh, Zoe lost his pick? Yeah, it figures.
Yes.
Yeah, he stinks.
I sent you a text. Read it.
Okay, all right. I got a bunch of them to get to. I've a
I'm
very
sorry,
busy
is this
day
like
here,
your
Michelle.
show?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks,
No,
Michelle.
I'm just kidding, Michelle. Anytime. You're welcome here anytime.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
We don't put a pitch clock on you either like you do on that other show.
No.
There's Devontae Parker making his debut.
Could use him tonight for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Going against his old team. Even if it's just that, like put him out there when you're going to target him. Not, don't try to run him into the ground. But he has a skill set that they can use. It's say what you will about the contested catches. I know they drive me nuts sometimes, but it's something that Mac feels comfortable with, and I'm sure that they're going to toss him a couple tonight.
All right, you're welcome to email us to webradio@patriots.com. Dan in Virginia and Michigan said to answer Hardy's question last week about why Brady was there basically for an announcement, which I questioned too. I'm guessing Brady was in attendance so that he could be the first person to ring the bell on the new lighthouse. Oh, well, that does explain it.
Yeah, I could tell you that's not why he was in attendance.
I assume that the bell ringing will be a new thing to start games, like the Ricola horn in Minnesota. My guess is that Brady was given the honor of being the first guest Quasimodo.
Yes, that ended up happening, and I believe you are correct and to assume that they're going to try to make that into a tradition, but that's not why Brady was here. It worked out that he was here, and we said, hey, what if we did this?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the starting of a new tradition here, the ringing of the lighthouse bell, Paul? How does that sit with you?
It's fine. I think that there's some cool traditions around the league that some work better than others. I think they're trying to do this. I'm not really sure, like a bell at the top of a lighthouse. I'm not exactly sure what that sort of signifies.
Well, they used to have bells on the. They used to have bells on the tops of lighthouses before they went to the horns.
Right.
So it's a thing.
But what do they have now?
Well, they have horns now.
So why wouldn't you just make it a horn?
Wasn't it the thing like what
because
the Bruins play in their goal thing is not a like a foghorn or something like that?
Well, it's not fun to watch somebody press the button on a horn. It's fun to watch them ring a bell.
What's the one that does the siren? Is that like
that's
Air Raid?
Carolina?
Vegas does that, I think.
Vegas does it? Okay.
I think the Vegas Golden
Jets?
Knights.
You know what? I'm all for like anything that you can do to sort of, elicit that kind of response or that reaction. I know a lot of people sort of make fun of different elements around the league, like the 12th man in Seattle. I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like Renegade.
Fans love it.
Renegade at Pittsburgh. It's a cool thing, but
it's hard to start something new on your own. Like
my argument with it is
It's hard to start a tradition.
Most things need to be organic.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that all of those things that we're talking about were all organically started, but I think that's the key, is you have something, you start doing it, and people seem to like it, and you're like, hey, we should do this all the time. I think those are the best traditions.
The Edmonton Oilers use a train whistle.
Okay.
The Bruins have their woo,
Oh yeah,
which I cannot stand.
That's what's his face, the wrestler,
Ric Flair.
Yeah, Ric Flair.
Yeah. Woo! Apparently, there was a touchdown in some game that Paul cares about. Yes, Paul.
Denver threw a 50-yard touchdown as time expired, but they still need the 2-point conversion because Russell Wilson took 2 sacks inside the 5-yard line in the previous possession.
Also from Dan, he says, we know Belichick always tries to take away the other team's strength. Seems that the Patriots do a better than average job of limiting Tyreek Hill, with Jonathan Jones. Given Hill's dominance, if the Patriots are able to limit Hill, would that have an impact on the game bigger than normal for Belichick's nullification approach?
Yeah, it's going to have an impact. But, again, even before we knew Jonathan Jones was going to be out, I think, we didn't expect them just to try to match up and chase the guys all over the field. We thought more zone anyway. So you hope that, maybe Marcus Jones' speed, maybe Miles Bryant's speed can be a little bit more factor within those zones. I just think the big thing is don't get beat over the top. Don't give up those big plays. I think that's just the biggest non-starter for me tonight is if you're giving up big scoring plays, deep ball over the heads of the safeties to Tyreek Hill, to Jalen Waddle, it's going to be a long night. So they got that's the starter. If they bust a long run off, there's a couple broken tackles. Okay, we'll live with it, but they can't give up the big scoring plays.
Joe in Osprey, Florida, would like to see a complete game from the team since I expected normally from the D. That means I need the offense to show me something. Look for a big game from Ramondre and Zeke with dump-off passes and yak.
Yeah, well, I would like to see what the running game looks like up the middle with those guys. And now that you have Strange and Onwenu back, how healthy are they? They have David Andrews. When you're talking about coming into this season, something you're building around. Michael Onwenu, one of the most promising draft picks of the last few years, right? A guy who can certainly play at right guard. David Andrews, big leader of this team, has been around forever and is one of the key pieces. And then Cole Strange, last year's first-round pick. Didn't really get much look at all at him at camp. Pads came on, and within, whatever it was, 20 minutes, he was out. We never saw him again. So what does year 2 look like for Cole Strange? Are they able to, use those two guys, the brute force of Onwenu, the speed and athleticism of Strange to, maybe get some big runs going up the middle with Stevenson and Elliott? I think it'd be a huge help to Mac. It'd be a huge help to Mac if they can get a little room going in the run game, just something to think about a little bit so he doesn't have to worry about those guys coming after him. But Phillips being out, that's a big one off the edge.
This email
Denver didn't get the 2-point conversion.
Did you have what?
All for naught, Denver.
What did you have? You had them in something.
I nothing.
Okay. This email annoys me. I think it's going to bother Paul too. Love you, Nick. Nick from Wisconsin checking in. Do we think Mac is going to have another great game tonight, or was last week a one-hit wonder per se?
I think if we're considering last week a great game, I think there's a very good chance he could have another game like that.
Yeah.
Is that the best way to answer it?
Fine. Yeah, because, look, he played well down the stretch, but he was largely responsible for you being down 16-0 to start that game.
It's situational. It's like Paul.
What are we doing? What are we doing? We're going to call that a great. Have we lowered the bar so low that we're going to call that a great game now for a Patriots quarterback?
It was the second quarter, and I think to Paul's key, the consistency. It doesn't have to be every drive. Look, they're probably going to have a couple punts tonight. That's okay, but situationally, good start, and then the finish. I think the finish is really the key. That's that last step for Mac to take. Can he? Lead the offense? Can the defense close out a good offense in that fourth quarter? Can they, just put the period on a win? Just slam the door shut. We're winning this game with our offense and our defense together.
I think they can score 20 points. That's what they did last week. Mm-hmm. And I would agree with Hardy. I don't consider that great.
No.
So I certainly think that most weeks they're capable of doing what they did last week. Can they score, can they get that other 10 to go from passable to good?
Yep.
That's what we need to see.
Also, how many sacks is Judon getting tonight? I think 2 sacks for him tonight. Again, that's Nick in Wisconsin. Thank you for the email, Nick.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a big key. I mean, Uche didn't play a lot. I mean, I think he certainly looks really good in spurts, and would love to see him get involved a little bit more. Just making Tua uncomfortable. I mean, I think we all know when you're hitting him, you're not going to get the A+ performance that we saw out of him last week. So they got to get to him. They got to make him uncomfortable. I think it was Spee mentioned Barmore. I think he's a big part of that. So hopefully they can go get him tonight.
Final email here from Johnny in Madtown. I always like when players go against their old teams. Thinking Gesicki might have a good night tonight, wanting to prove something. I also think Henry will continue to be a touchdown target. What do you all think? If it's not going to the tight ends, how do you attack this Dolphins defense?
Any way you can.
Well, I mean, is the Dolphins defense the primary concern going into this game tonight?
No. I mean,
a little.
Waddle and Hill and Tua for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that's the headline. I agree with you, but the defense, like, a lot of people felt like Miami's defense would improve with Vic Fangio, and certainly week 1 it did not. They looked like a lot like they did last year. I would expect that to be better tonight. The question is, where do you attack? I just think the middle of the field. Make them defend the crossing routes. I think that's Bourne. Who knows? Maybe Juju. Get some guys between the numbers in addition to the tight ends. Like last week was great and all. Like they were able to move the ball, and I agree. Like, they had 400+ yards of offense. They moved the ball well last week for the most part. I'd like to see it not have. I want to say they had 13 catches on like 18 targets to running backs. I'd like to see a little less of that, and a little bit more, trying to get the ball down the field, not like deep down the field, but down the field to receivers.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning, too. I mean, the big thing with the Fangio defense is a lot more cover, too, and that's, to take away the deep plays.
Big plays.
And so we talked, a little
Which
bit on the
plays
show.
right into what you want to do.
Right, this week that, are they going to continue? I mean, and it's not entirely that. They disguise a lot, too. But, is it something the Patriots can take advantage of? Do they instead spin their own dial on Miami's side and say, you know what, we're going to throw a curveball at Bill Belichick tonight because that's what you have to do, and we're going to play a lot of cover one, and we're going to get up on these guys and, say, hey, we're going to challenge you to beat us one-on-one. That could be part of their approach as well.
All right, you want to do the what did we just? Oh, the Titleist 3-pack, the Callaway 3-pack.
This is the Sunday 6-pack, so kick back and listen to my position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Go get it mixed, Jack. I came to win it. Yeah, this is the Sunday 6-pack.
And we will thank Bridgestone, the official tire of the New England Patriots. And Bridgestone tires are on sale through September 30th at all Sullivan Tire locations. I won't do it again. Visit sullivantire.com for a location near you. How did we do last week?
Hardy 3-3,
Pretty
Paul
good.
4-2, Mike 6-0.
Come on.
Yeah, that is not correct.
Dominant.
Well, I'll do it again.
Did I do it wrong a second time?
Yes, you did. Mike 6-0. Kudos. Hardy 3-3. Paul 2-4. Not 4-2. I'm nothing if not honest.
He corrected it incorrectly.
Correct.
Wow.
I am so bad at numbers.
So Mike, off to a hot start.
Week 1.
Hot start
Week 1,
for you,
Paul.
6.
Paul, let's not
6-0.
overreact.
Do you
Week 1.
Do you think it's over for you, Paul? I mean, I have a chance of catching Deuce.
I think it's all but over for me. If I don't win tonight, it's over.
Yeah, I think
Forget
so.
it.
I think so. I think you're right.
We all know I'm capable of getting hot and ripping off 3-4 weeks in a row.
All right, well, let's see what happens with,
with the 1-0 New Orleans Saints at the 0-1 Carolina Panthers, New Orleans -3.
Oh, boy. Yeah. I know. It's kind of a gross game. I don't think I'll watch much of it, but I'm going to go with Derek Carr and the Saints for the win.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints, too. I think that defense is pretty good, and I think it'll be too much for Bryce Young.
well, you know me. I don't care, but the action is the juice. So I'm taking the Panthers.
The 1-0 Cleveland Browns at the 0-1 Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland -2.
So we got a doubleheader tomorrow night.
Yep. Do I go first again?
No,
I do.
Paulie Paul.
I am going to take the Cleveland Browns on the road. I don't really have a good reason as to why. I just think the Pittsburgh sometimes struggles out of the gate, and I think they're going to suffer through some early season struggles.
I couldn't care less if they're struggling.
I would agree with that.
I will take the Steelers.
Ask me again in 5 minutes. I'll have a totally different answer.
Getting the points. Give me the Steelers plus the points.
Yeah, I'm with Paulie on the Browns in this one.
It's going to be bloody.
And the 1-0 Miami Dolphins at the 0-1 New England Patriots. Miami 2.5. Minus 2.5.
Yes, I got you.
Obviously.
I got you. I think the Dolphins win this game tonight, and I mean, it's 2.5 points, so really don't have to get into the spread too much. I am taking Miami.
That's ridiculous. The Patriots are going to win. I feel pretty good about it. I think it's a big game for them. I think they can
really, a big game for them.
Really get some positive mojo going tonight, but I think it's going to be a battle. I got the Patriots winning 29-26. It's my weird score of the week.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I got them 27-24.
Yeah, I've been sort of on the Patriots all week, and as the week has gone on, I have to admit I've sort of wavered in my confidence, but I'm going to stick with my original pick. I think this is a horrible spot for Miami. I think they're very satisfied to open the season with 2 road games and haven't already gotten split that they probably would have been happy with coming in. I think this is a great situation for the Patriots. National TV game, get a win under their belt, and then move on. 27-20, New England.
What was your score there, Deuce?
29-26. Don't ask me how I got there. It's just they come to me. I'm like the sharps in Vegas. You know,
I understand.
It's like Moses with the 10 Commandments. Like they just hand me the score and I have to say it.
I understand. All right, very good.
Do you? I don't even think he does.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure he does. I'm not sure.
You know, we talked about the, nonsensical mathematical aspect of the must-win, but this is just like a tone, an attitude, a mood must-win for the Patriots tonight. To start the season 0-2 would be really, I think, detrimental to the cause in general, especially with what you have on the horizon. Maybe not next week, but the week after, and thinking like, wow, the best we're going to be looking at here is 1-3. So in that regard, I think it is kind of a backs against the wall type of game tonight. Especially with Miami, and
Miami is kind of a sweetheart a little bit right now. Everybody loves Tyreek Hill and what they're doing on offense, and for good reason. They played great last week. It's I think the NFL world kind of wants to stay on that path. They see now the Patriots as that 3rd, 4th place team in the AFC East, and this is where your season is made. You used to just live for the one big game against Indianapolis, and then you just kind of do your due diligence of beating all the other crappy teams in the league. But when you're this kind of team and you've been 500 the last couple of years and on the cusp of the playoffs, when it comes down to a home game against a divisional opponent that you're like in that mix for 2-3, like these are the games you have to win if you're going to turn that corner and get back into one of those contending team status.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what Mike just said, and I think it's an opportunity. And the defense showed up, and they brought it last week. And now this is a different kind of test, not as physical a test, but more of a finesse test. And you're down Jonathan Jones, which is a huge cog back there. So can you step up and figure out a way to slow them down again? And I think that's a huge element of the early season test that they're going to have tonight.
In the post game tonight, will we be saying that the Patriots missed Trent Brown more or Jonathan Jones more?
Jonathan Jones, I think.
Who wins?
Yeah.
If it's you, I'm going to say that they missed Jonathan Jones more, because you are pretty confident that Miami's going to win. And
that makes sense.
They're going to rack up some points then, because I don't see, I guess I just don't have a whole lot of respect for Miami's defense. And the whole Fangio thing to me is really, I want to say it's overrated, but I don't really hear a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
Other than a few locally.
Yeah.
I think those cover 2s are ice cream for the Patriots. I think they love to scheme against those. And I think it plays right into the Patriots offensively. It plays right into their hands. Mac wants to use the middle of the field. Mac's not looking to drive the ball down the field all night. So taking away the big plays from the Patriots offense doesn't really do a whole lot to hurt them.
Adam on Twitter says, Paul poo-poos everything. The bell is cool. Dang, man.
I didn't poo-poo that.
No, I don't think
I didn't poo-poo it.
I don't think it's fair to characterize what you did as poo-pooing the bell. I do think you pointed out the fact that it is difficult to start a tradition.
Yes, and it is.
And they have to kind of happen organically and whatever.
I think the best things that teams do is something that's not thought about in a meeting.
Yes.
It just kind of happens.
Well,
I think I'll give you an example, and this is kind of really offbeat and wacky, and I'm not
Wacky and weird
I'm not
stuff.
just saying it because I happen to like Zoe, but when he started that whole thing with the outfield,
yeah,
that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
No one said, we're going to play Your Love in the middle of the third quarter when they're winning, and the crowd's going to love it, and they're going to go crazy.
It made no sense.
But it worked.
Right.
It worked.
Yeah, it was
you know
just
what I mean?
a thing.
Like, I think that's the best way to do it. I have no problem. I know what they're trying to do. Believe me, I'm in these meetings. I'm in these meetings. I know what we're trying to do.
Right. Has there been?
I didn't poo-poo it at all.
Has there been any thought to making the bell a permanent fixture as opposed to something that rolls out like on an AV card in high school? Got to wheel the TV in here so that the kids can watch Willy Wonka.
Okay,
that's a half day.
The other part of this is I didn't get to see really any of the ceremony last
we can't
week.
see that. We can't see it up there from our spot in the press box. But.
Well, trust, they wheeled it out, and it was kind of shaking as he was ringing the bell. All right. Thank you to Travis Wingfield, squash champion, Puget Sound 2003. Now with MiamiDolphins.com. He joined us behind enemy lines. Poor Travis. Thank you to everybody for being a part of the show. We'll talk to you in the post game tonight as the Patriots take on the Dolphins here at Gillette Stadium.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.